And a very good evening to everybody, and a warm welcome to another of our Saturday night discussions, talking about all things spiritual and spiritualism. Tonight, we've got a lovely gentleman who's been highly recommended to me, Barry Potter. Barry, you're going to have to forgive me, sir. I know very little about you apart from your name is Barry Potter. That's it. So,
To be honest with you, that's all I want you to know. Now, can I explain something to you, Lawrence?
Please do.
I have got me titles, but I don't like mediums throwing the titles out because at the end of the day, we are spiritualists and it's spirit that does the work, not the medium. But if you want to have my title, which means absolutely nothing to me, I'm Mr. Barry Potter, Leicester's top international trans medium and celebrity. I've worked in Australia, Canada, America, and Germany. I've been on the radio, I've been in the papers, and I've been on the television. But who am I? I'm Barry Potter. And that's what I want people to know. I'm Barry Potter, the medium, nothing more. Because forgive me for saying this, but there's too many mediums that call themselves international, and they've only probably been as far as Skeggy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I did the Isle of Wight a couple of years ago, so I am.
Also, you're international then.
Yes, I am.
But I've also got to say this to you, Lawrence, as well. You said earlier that you link with those overseas. You're international.
Oh,
yeah, you're international. You're linking overseas.
Oh, this is going to be a fun night. I can see this coming. It's excellent. Hello, Barry.
I do like a laugh, Lawrence. I do like a laugh. I don't think we should be too serious on things. Yes, I want people to ask questions, but we don't have to get into the downs. You know, lift up, bring a bit of laughter in.
Yeah, that's my philosophy. I had a lovely compliment today from somebody who was walking past the church and popped in for a chat. And they said, whenever anybody says Lawrence, they always say it with a smile or a bit of laughter. And I think, oh, that's great. I'm doing my job, because I always say, you know, we weren't put here to have a miserable time. It's only us that makes it miserable. So, yeah, have a laugh. Barry.
Yes, sir.
Sir, right, I'm going to take charge here with a firm hand.
I'm going then.
Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, number one, where are you?
I'm actually in Leicester.
Okay.
I live in Leicester. I've lived in the same house for since 1969. But the house that I was born in, I'm going to let it all out now. The house I was born in.
It's not the watershed.
The house I was born in, before it was converted into a house, it was an undertaker's. So we used to see him come out the attic, out the cellar, passes on the stairs, and all the rest of it. So I was brought up with ghosts, and believe me, I'm one of 9 children, and we used to be top and tail in bed, you know. And I was always put against the attic, and the spirits used to come out. They used to sit on the bed and they'd smile at me and look at me. And me, I'd be screaming. You know what I'm saying? And my brothers would be giving me a good eye. But I'm going to explain to you as well. I've been a spiritualist medium working the platforms for 43 years. I am actually a trans medium. And I'm going to explain to you, I get told off so many times for saying this. No one can teach anyone to become a medium, and no one can teach anyone to become a trans medium. When it comes to it, a person that is gifted, if they come forward within the circles or groups, they are nurtured. No one can teach them. And when it comes to doing trance, no one can teach them to do trance. That can help them to understand of the depth of things, but they can't bring the voice. They can't bring the voice. Only spirit can do that. And if anybody wants to ask questions in a bit on those lines, I'm willing to explain. And I will also say this as well, Lawrence. if my helper does want to come through, if you will allow him, I'll allow him to come through.
By all means. By all
Okay,
means.
we'll see how things go. Okay, my friend. So, as I say, you know, I've done this work. So, and the one thing I do not like people that think they know better than a proper medium. And the reason I say this is because, you see, I've done this work all my life. I've seen spirit all my life. I'm nearly 71, and I can tell you, I'm still learning. I am still learning. And I've learned so much, believe me. And I will later on, if people want to ask, I will give them a prayer which was given to me in the 1970s, early 1970s. And believe me, that prayer has a lot within it. Okay. So
Right.
whenever they're, or do you want me to say it now to you?
Yes, yes, please.
Early 1974, I walked into Bourneway Spiritualist Church here in Leicester. It's no longer here. It's been, you know, demolished. I walked in, and a lady, didn't know her, came straight over to me. She grabbed my hand and she said, "Young man," she said, "you're a work of the Spirit, and I've got a prayer, and I want you to take this prayer and I want you to say it every night." And she said, "When you say it, things will happen." So I just, you know, took it, went home, said it. And this is the prayer. "Lord, while I'm asleep, take my inner spirit to the school of learning, that I may gain the knowledge of truth, that I may share with my brothers and sisters of the earth." And believe me, I've gone on the platform many times and I've been speaking, and words have come out my mouth, and I'm thinking, well, where did this come from? I never knew anything about this myself. And it's because Spirit had taught me to the school of learning. And this is where all my knowledge has come from, the school of learning. I'm going to be honest with you all. I have never done a workshop. I have never been in a workshop. Everything has come naturally from Spirit. Okay, so that's where I gained all my knowledge, working with Spirit, putting total trust in Spirit. And that's the way forward. Total trust.
Definitely. That's really interesting, especially about the prayer on a personal note here. I was saying last night, I've just gone through a little area in my life with things. And I picked up a book that was written in 1876. And the answer was in the chapter of the page that I opened it to. And part of it was about prayer and the value of prayer to both the earth and the spirit side, and what to pray for, as in more knowledge. And there you are, confirming that. So yeah, absolutely. Right, I've had my message. You can all go home now, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
But I'm going to tell you something, Lawrence, and I'm being very serious here. You'd be surprised how many churches won't allow you to say a prayer. And really? I turn and say, they won't allow you. Some of them won't allow you to say the Lord's Prayer. And I went to one church. I'm talking in the 80s here. I went to one church and I stood up. I opened in prayer, went into the Lord's Prayer. And while I was saying it, the president who were chairing were pulling my coat. And when I finished, he said to me, he said, "We do not say the Lord's Prayer here." I said, "You don't, I do." So when it came to the philosophy, I spoke about the Lord's Prayer. I said, it isn't a Christian prayer. It isn't a Catholic prayer. It's a universal prayer, because we're praying to our Father God, God being the key word. And, you know, I went and gave a good address, and all of a sudden this chap at the back of the room, he stood up, shouted at the top of his voice, he knows what he's talking about. He said he's got more sense than any of you, and this, that, and the other. And after the service, I was taken into the medium's room, and the president said, Mr. Potter, when you come to this church again, you do not say the Lord's Prayer. I said, no, I won't, because I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
I told him straight. Prayer is very important.
Yeah, that is sad. I've had that myself. I'm a platform medium, and I just don't get it. You know what? At the end of the day, we're spiritualists, and that's what matters. But anyway, let's not go on to the negative.
No, that's it.
Let's keep this all positive. Got a lovely comment here. I don't know if you know this gent, Phil Shaw up in London. He is also a trance medium. And just picking up on your tenure there about being nurtured. And he was nurtured by Ivy Northridge and her guide, Chan.
Lovely. That's lovely.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to say this to you, Phil. If you've been nurtured, you're a genuine one. You're a genuine one. Because you see, those that are nurtured are ones that allow spirit to do the work. Not those that sit there and tell you what to do, how to do it, and then you come with a silly voice and talk of such nonsense. I'll be honest with you. So I respect you for that, my friend. I respect you for that.
Yeah, no, and he is. He's a very gentle soul as well.
Lovely.
We did meet very briefly once. Yes, so how did the trance mediumship side come into your mediumship then?
Well, I'm going to tell you, my friend, at first, when it was happening, I'm not going to lie to you, I thought everybody was just being, shall I say, silly. And I'm being very serious when I say it. I used to run a home circle, and we'd have as many as 12 sitting in the home circle, and we'd all go in to a meditation, you know, and we'd sit, and when we come round, the Tarrant said, oh, Barry, you ought to have heard your helper. You ought to have heard spirit that came through you. So I said, what you on about? They said, spirit come through and spoke through you. I said, don't be silly. Well, it carried on for a good, what, 3 months. And I turned and said, well, I said, what I'm going to do is going to get a tape recorder and I'm going to record it, you see. So anyway, one of the ladies said, I've got a very sensitive tape recorder at home. She said, it picks up every sound. She said, I'll bring it next week. And she said, I'll put it on and we'll see what happens. Well, we switched it on. We opened in prayer, went into meditation. We were gone for a good hour. Comes back and they're all saying, oh, Barry, those words were fantastic. They were lovely and this, that and the other. And I said, look, I don't believe you. I think you're just being silly. So the lady face, she said, I'm going to rewind it and we're going to play it. So she rewound it, played it. We could hear the opening prayer. We could hear someone coughing. We could hear the cars going up and down the road. We could hear kids playing. We heard the doorbell go next door, but there were no words from spirit. So I turned and said, you're all talking stupid. I said, now stop it. I said, you've gone, you know, beyond it. And then I went to Forrester Street Spiritualist Church in Derby, and I sat in the congregation, and a medium come on, and she looked at me. She went, and when I say she went white, she went as white as a sheet. And she turned around and said to me, she said, you're a trans medium. She said, and you will have 5 helpers work with you. So I looked at my friend. I said, she must be blooming stupid. Well, I'm not joking. I took a service out at Blackpool Spiritualist Church at Albert Road.
Oh, lovely church.
Yeah. Completely packed. Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. There was 1,000 people there. That's how many was in the church. It was
big old place.
Yeah, it is. And I went into trance, and that's how it all started. By sitting in a circle. I didn't sit for any groups. I didn't, go into these, teaching or anything. Spirit took control. And that's how it's supposed to be. Taking control. Because you see, this is something, Lawrence, that a lot of, shall I say, people don't realise. We that are mediums, we are mediators between the two worlds. We link between the earth and spirit. I'm not a psychic. I'm not a fortune teller. To receive a message from spirit, it's an honor. It's a privilege. You cannot demand. It isn't a right. So therefore, I always say, if you're coming into the ism, learn first of all. And again, I've got told off for this, Lawrence. I'm going to tell you. When I used to run my circles, I'd have as many as 50, 60 people at a time, and they'd come into the circle. Now, let's be honest with you as regards this. No one, and I don't care who hears me say it, cannot go into meditation straight the way. You've got to remember, you've been to work. You've had a row with the wife, or you've had a row with the husband, whichever it is, you know, and your mind's all over the place. So you can't come into a circle and just switch off. You have to learn to relax. And you'd be surprised how many people fell asleep. And I loved it. I loved it because you see, you know, when they fall asleep, it shows three things. One, they feel at ease within the church, within the energies. They're also receiving healing from spirit. And at the same time, spirit are slowly taking them into the meditation. Okay. So we'll just say, for instance, you came into my circle and you'd never been before and you fell asleep. Okay. I'd go around like we all do. What have you got? What have you got? And I'd come to you and I'd say, did you manage to get anything? The first thing you say to me is, I'm ever so sorry. I didn't get anything. I fell asleep. That's all right. That's what I want. But I'm going to ask a question. When you opened your eyes, who were the first person you saw? I saw that lady over there. Lovely. That's all I wanted. Go round, finish the circle. Following week, you're back in again. Now, I want you to listen to the words here, Lawrence. You come back in again. You fall asleep. I call to time and I come over to you and I say, did you get anything? Oh, I'm ever so sorry. I fell asleep. No, that's all right. That's what we want you to do. But can I ask a question? When you opened your eyes, who were the first person you saw? Well, I saw that gentleman over there. I just felt as though I'd got to look. What's the difference from the first and the second? The first, I told her, who did she see? She saw a lady. The second, I said, who did you see? She said, a gentleman. I felt. I put nothing there. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So naturally, things are starting to come from her. And this is what we're to do as mediums that run development circles, home circles, or whatever. We are supposed to encourage their gift out of them. We don't tell them what to do. We shouldn't even put words in the mouth. What we do is this. We link with them. We link with them. So we'll just say, for instance, Lawrence, that you was to stand up and you was giving something out, but you couldn't understand what you were giving.
Yeah.
I should link in with you automatically. And I should be able to help you to understand what you're giving and say to the person, now do you understand? Yes, I do. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, if you just leave them to it and the person says no, their confidence has been shattered.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I do waffle on. I do apologise.
No, that's fine.
Right, has anybody got any questions for me? And I'm sorry, I haven't got the lottery numbers because I couldn't get them myself.
There is one that's come in, just a little bit off track, but I do know this lady. She is a lovely lady from Christine, who lives locally to us. This is off topic, but that's absolutely fine. And she's just saying she's had things flying off the wall in the last 3 months. And she did ask me about that, and I gave some advice. But she's saying just lately, a little bird has been attacking me. Do you think I'm a bad person?
No. Straight out, no.
Are you listening, Christine?
Christine, I'm going to explain something to you very, very serious here, sweetheart. Never say it's you that is causing these energies. They're not. Do you know what people don't realize, and they never talk about it within the ism? You know, when you link with anyone, you go into church, you sit down next to someone, you don't know who that person is. That person could be linking with black magic, they can link with an occult, they can link with all different things, and they can have dark entities. And if you've linked with them, that entity can attach itself to you. And when it attaches itself to you, it can cause a lot of disruption where the home is concerned. You just spoke about things being thrown off the wall and different things like that. I'm going to explain to you. They can cause you to have deep depression. They can cause you to fall out with family. They can cause you lots of things whatsoever. So if you've got these conditions that are happening, the first thing you need to do is to pray. In that room, pray. And pray to God from the heart, not just words. Words mean nothing. But when you pray from the heart and you ask God and Spirit to remove these entities from your home, they will do. They will do it for you. I've done a lot of investigation, so I'm not just talking out of my hat. I'm being serious when I say this, okay? So has that managed to help you in any way, Christine?
We hope so. There is quite a delay on us speaking and people being able to get the comments in on StreamYard.
So I'm just going to move across one way or the other because we see that's it, my light in the back.
Yeah, that was lovely. And do you know what? Actually, this is something that's been skirted around at the moment, but I am glad that it is starting to come out a little bit more. People not talking about the negative side of spirit. It's all, everything's pink and fluffy and unicorns and rainbows and happy days and all that. But it's another world, and the same as our world outside of the door here. There's people we want to be associated with, and there's people we don't want to be associated with. And I am pleased in a way that is just starting now to be a little bit more accepted. It's not good, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I fully get that. A lot of people don't want to hear that stuff. I fully get that, but it is a fact.
But Lawrence, they should. I'm going to explain to you. They should. You'd be surprised how many churches say there's no darkness, there's only light. There is nothing dark in spirit at all. I said, well, if there's no dark in spirit, why is it the mediums have to go out doing investigations? Why do we have exorcists within the ism? Because if there's no darkness, so you see, this is why we should make sure that we explain it properly to people from the platform, that they can have darkness come around them, and they can. And if they're aware, then they can do something about it, and they really can do something about it. Because you see, the one thing that churches should have, and they should always have, at least one true spiritual medium that can go out and do investigations, because you get lots of people ask the churches for help.
Yeah,
they're hearing noises, they're seeing things, and they need help, they need guidance. So let's start talking about these things. I bring it in, yes, but I don't think we've got to go into the depth of it. We haven't got to go into the depth. Just make people aware that there is that sort of thing that does happen. And once they know, because here's something for you, Lawrence. I say this so often. You get people that come into your churches, into your groups. they gain a little bit of knowledge, and a little bit of spiritual knowledge is a very dangerous thing. It is. And this is why they need to learn to develop properly. You can't come into a circle or a church or on a group like this and expect to be a medium within 6 months. It's took me a lifetime to get where I am, and I've enjoyed every minute.
Yeah, no, I agree. Quite often people are taught to open up, but people are not taught to close down. And that, when I hear that, I just think, really? I teach it the opposite way. I teach how to close down first, so that when they open up, they're ready to close down again. Because I always say, you know, you've come out today, people in the church have been sat in circles. I said, what's the last thing you did when you left your house? You lock your doors.
Yeah.
Or you check your doors are locked. And you come to circle and you sit there and you're trying to open up all those doors, and then you have this propensity to just wander off outside. And that's so wrong, because you're opening up to energies, influences, and all sorts of things, and you are not in control.
That is true. That is true. Because, you know, I'm going to tell you something, Lawrence. I'm going back to 1969. There was a lovely medium called Mrs. Marjorie Backus. She was born in Birmingham, but she lived in Leicester. And she took me under her wing. And she said, Barry, she said, you've linked with spirit all your life, but you're not communicating properly with them. I said, no, because I'm scared. She said, no, you're not opening your chakras. She said, people talk about them, but never show you how they've got to open. So I said, okay, then. So she said, I want you to sit in this chair here. And she said, what I want you to do, she said, I want you to sit upright, back straight up, feet flat to the ground, hands upon your laps with your palms facing the ceiling. Then I want you to close your eyes. And then I want you to start to breathe slowly, counting 10 in, letting 8 out. So I started doing it. And after about 5 minutes, I started going dizzy. So I pulled myself back. She said, no, you go along with it. What's happening here? She said, spirit is opening your chakras, and they're starting with your third eye. So I did. I started. And I opened mind, voice, heart, tummy, solar plex. But I never opened the base. And she said, you must open the base. She said, because until you do that, you're not in alignment. And if you're not in alignment, your inner spirit can't open up to the entities, to the energies and the senses. And I said, well, how do I do it? And she explained to me. And she said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you. And then I can tell you this. When you go home tonight, things are going to happen. And she said, when they do, I can tell you, you will be giving me a call in the morning. I said, what for? She said, you wait. And I'm not lying. I went into meditation and I opened all chakras with her help to open the base. Okay. And my base, once it was open, I tried to move my feet. I couldn't. They were like lead boots because I was earth to the ground. My hands were so clammy. And I explained to Marjorie how I was feeling. She said, good. Spirit, enter through the left, leave through the right. Now, I'd never known that before. And she said, right. She said, Doug, her husband, is going to take you home. Takes me home. I gets into bed. And as I'm sitting in bed, I could hear all these voices talking from, I couldn't sleep. Honestly, I couldn't sleep because these voices were coming from everywhere. It was as though I'd got to give messages, but there were no one there to give messages to. And I got up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet. And as I was sitting there, I could see these faces coming from everywhere. Comes 9 o'clock in the morning, I phoned Marjorie. I said, help. She said, I knew you'd be calling me. She said, Doug's on his way. She opened me up, but she didn't show me how to close down until the following day. And, you know, she says to me, when you work with Spirit, Barry, make sure you have your time set. So, you know how we're talking here? We started at 7:15. She said, if you want to finish at 9:30, you tell them, and that time is all Spirit. After that time, it closes.
Yeah,
and that's what I've always done. That's what I've always done.
Yeah, yeah. We've all come across people who are open to influences 24/7, and you can all honestly say, hand on heart, we all picked up the same feeling of that ain't right.
It isn't. It isn't, because you see, as I was told, you've got your material life.
Yeah.
Spirit will use you. Spirit will use you 24/7. And I will say this, my friend, so that you do know this. I always say when I go to take a service, never call me to time. Let me carry on. For the simple fact is this: if Spirit can take the time to come, you should allow Spirit the time to be here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's this one, Colin, and you throw the questions out there, my friend. But there was this one time I went to Rugby Spiritualist Church, and again, this was late 70s. I can remember standing on the platform. I can remember opening prayer, and the next thing, the president is pulling me coat, and I'm looking at her, and she said, it's time. I said, we haven't even started. She said, started? She said, you've gone way over your time. She said, I've got to tell you, we started at 6 o'clock. It's now 10 o'clock. She said, people were so engrossed with what they were seeing, not one of them left the church. And she said, you know, when you walked up the aisle, she said, the lights went down. When you walked back, the lights went up. And that was because of all the energies, because of the power of Spirit that was there. And, you know, it's surprising when Spirit come forward. If they want to come, allow them to come. Put trust in it. It is very important that I keep saying this. Put trust in your helpers, in your guides. Because here's something that not many people understand. You know, when you come into your development groups, right, and they're just coming forward, the three things they must always know and they must always be told of. One is your doorkeeper. The other is your powerhouse. And the other is your mainstay. Your doorkeeper is the one that opens up the doors to Spirit. He's the one that protects you. He's the one that allows those of the highest to come and keep the darkness out. Your powerhouse, and here's something for you, because I bet you've already had this happen. Your powerhouse, that is the energy. You know, when you've gone to church, if the energies are good, that's because your powerhouse has brought all the energies into you, and you're up there and you're working away and everything's flowing. But if the energies are not there, it's as flat as a pancake. And your mainstay is your main guide that always stays with you. You must know who your doorkeeper is. You must know who your powerhouse is, and you must know who your mainstay are, because they're the three that will always be with you.
And that's always one of the big questions. I don't know who my guide is. I often hear that. Barry.
Yes.
Take a breath.
I told you I waffle on. I do apologise.
No, you're not waffling on at all by any means. It's thoroughly interesting. But I've invited people to put questions in, and I've been waiting very patiently. So we've got the lovely Angus. I love this. I've never met this gentleman, Angus Gordon. We must meet up one day, Angus Gordon, because in my book, anybody with a name like Angus Gordon has got to be a good bloke. So He
Good
said,
evening, Angus.
he said, is involuntary trance something to be worried about? Some say that those that do haven't protected themselves. Interesting.
Involuntary trance, there's nothing to worry about. And I'm being serious as regards this, because you see, what people don't realize is, you know, when you're developing within your gift, spirit can come strong, and sometimes they overshadow you. And a lot of people don't know the difference of being overshadowed and trance. So if they're being overshadowed, that seems as though spirits are taking control without your consent. Okay. So therefore, if you don't want them to do that, the first thing you do, you say to your helpers, please, that isn't the time for me to do it. I'm not ready for it. And they will step back. However, if you want to move forward with it, then you can say to spirit, I am prepared to allow you to take control. That means you're giving permission to that spirit to take control. And this is something do you remember I said earlier, Lawrence? You get these people that teach you to become trance, but they can't teach the voice. You know, when you're developing in trance, you know, when you're in meditation and you're just coming out and you go to speak, your voice is a funny, you know, you kind of cough or clear your throat. That's the first thing you do. But you shouldn't, because that spirit taking control of the voice itself. And when it takes control of the voice, instead of just coughing and clearing your throat, they speak through you. So we'll just say, for instance, that Angus, he's sitting there and he starts to speak and he allows spirit to take control of his voice. It can be deeper, it can be higher, it can be stronger and powerful. Can you see? And what is happening here? Spirit are taking control of the voice box. They're learning how to control of the voice within. And that's what trance is all about. Going deep, allowing spirit to take control. So like you've just said, Angus, is it harmful? No, it isn't. All you are is overshadowed, and you can ask spirit to step back. Has that answered the question for you, my friend?
I think it absolutely wonderful. Yeah, really, really good explanation there.
Lovely.
And I love, you know, you brought in that element as well that people can sometimes overlook. You know, we've been ruined in this society where we get instant gratification. You know, we want something on Amazon, we want it tomorrow. We want to watch a film, we want to watch it now, and everything, you know, is of the now. Spirit isn't like that at all. You know, if that ability is there within you for trance, it's not only you learning to still yourself enough or whatever conditions you need to bring that attribute out in you, it's also your spirit teams learning you. So, you know, if you think, oh, I'm going to be a trance medium, right, come on, talk.
Yeah, but that wasn't what I planned. It wasn't what I went in for. I'll be honest with you. I was happy just being a medium, developing, growing. But I'm going to explain something to you. You said something not long back when we was talking about the door.
Did I get a word in, did I?
Oh, sorry.
Did I get a word in, did I?
Well, you did say, I'm going to be honest with you, when we were talking about Doorkeeper Powerhouse and Mainstay, you said you don't know your guide. Ask him. Ask him.
Yeah. Okay. I said that is the most common thing people say is, oh, I don't know my guide is.
Yeah, but you see, if you ask, and I'll tell you something, not always, because you'd be surprised how many people say, oh, it's Jesus, it's Moses, it's Abraham, and things like that. Well, what a load of junk. I'm sorry to say this, okay? If you ask, if they do not give you a name, they will impress. They will impress. Now, I know you've got a little moustache here, okay? So you may go into your meditation, and as you're coming out of meditation, you put your hand over, you underneath and down here. So therefore, your mainstay would have had the beard, the mustache, and then you sense, is this someone from the ancient times? Can you see what I'm saying? So you start to sense things. And once you do that, that's spirit telling you who your mainstay is. Okay?
Yeah.
Right, I'll let you get worded.
Oh, thanks. I've lost all the questions now.
Oh,
Here we
sorry.
go. Lovely Sue.
Good evening, Sue.
And she's just asking, what's your advice to clear yourself of energies which are not yours?
Right, the first thing when it comes to cleansing yourself, let me explain something first to you, Sue, as regards this. Do you know what no one ever tells you? Or if they do, they tell it you're wrong. Let's put it this way. You know, when you're opening up to spirit, they'll say, put the cloak of protection around you. What a joke. All you're doing is protecting the body. What about the mind, which is the most important part, protecting the mind? So the first thing you should do is ask for the dome of protection to be placed over you. That's protecting mind and body, okay? So when you then start to get these negative energies come around you, right? They shouldn't affect you because what you've done is you've protected yourself, okay? So therefore, what you do is you close yourself down spiritually, then you ask spirit to remove all negative energies away from you, and spirit will do it. They will do it, and that's the way of cleansing yourself. That's the way of protecting yourself, by asking. And please forgive me for saying this, Sue, but I've heard it so many times over the years. You must always ask spirit to cleanse you, spirit to cleanse you. You'll hear people turn around and say, oh, well, just sit there, go into your relaxation, clear your mind, and just put your hand down and go, oh, I'm cleansed. What a load of junk. This is all a myth. What it should be, sweetheart, is protecting yourself first. And then once that dome's been removed of you, you ask spirit to clear all negative away from you, and they do. Has that helped you anyway, Sue?
I'm sure it has. And the other thing, the other part to that is something I work on quite a lot for myself, is knowing which is mine and which is not mine.
Oh, yes.
Because we do things and we can get ourselves really worked up into a right old paddy over something.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just have to apply the brakes and go, hang on. Why am I here? Why am I thinking this? Is this me? Or am I allowing other people to put stuff upon me? Am I just, you know, somebody will say one remark and before you know it, in your head, you've got this full-blown argument going on with the tank division ready to come over and the bombers getting fueled, you know, and you're just like, whoa,
yeah,
hang on, that's not me. That's not my energy. I need to shift this because that is not of me.
I love what you're saying, Lawrence, because I've said this so many times. What people don't realize is there's a very thin line between the spiritual and the material. And if you don't know how to control, you do not know the difference of them, you can let your material thoughts come in and your material thoughts can overtake. So you're right, because what you've done, you've questioned those energies. Now, you see, is something that I want everyone to listen to, and also yourself. You know, when I first came into the ism, okay, I was always told the most important thing when you open your chakras, you must learn how to sense. You have to learn how to use your senses to, is it male? Is it female? Is it dark? Is it light? Is it that of heaviness? You know, you're picking up all energies, so you're sensing which is which. And that's when you develop, because I always say to people, when I work with spirit, I work with the energies of spirit, the energies, because I'm sensing everything. And that's what you should do.
Very true. Very true. There's a few people that, say, oh, we don't do any, I do. I find working with the energy is most beneficial, and especially in everyday life, talking to people. When you do get a comment come back at you, whatever, it's not listening to the words, it's trying to fathom out, go deeper, and find out what empowered that comment. And that's quite an interesting thing to do, because it can divert a whole truckload of grief, because you understand why that came about, not dealing with the thing that came out, but finding out the underpinnings of it and go, oh, okay, oh, that's interesting. We have a question from America.
Bless you.
Lovely Joan.
Hello, Joan. Pleased to meet you.
She's a real sweetie, and she's asking, can you recommend the learning of chakras, please?
Right. The learning of chakras is very important. You see, let me explain something to you. It's very easy. Let me explain. When you sit and you're relaxing to go into your meditation and spirit come close to you, they open your third eye. And when I say they open your third eye, as you're going into meditation, they'll show you a vision, or you're seeing the sorts of things that are like a voice. And I said seeing like a voice, not hearing. Okay. So what they'll do is put something like symbolics into you. Okay. So therefore, you're starting to look, you're starting to question everything. And that's the best thing you can do. So you ask then spirit to come closer. So as they come closer, as they're opening your third eye, they're making things more aware for you of everything that is around you. Okay. So therefore, you're seeing symbols, and you're also sensing spirit through the third eye. And this is how it starts to develop. They start with the third eye first, because you see, when you're going into your relaxation, it's your mind, it's your brain is relaxed. So that's where they start first. And then the second is your heart. Now, everyone looks at the chakras: mind, voice, heart. Let me explain to you. It's the heart. And the heart is the easiest to open up, because your heart is the part of you that's loving. It's the part that's felt the pain. It's the part of you that understands the feelings of others suffering. So they do that. Then what they do is they open the tummy. Now I'm going to explain. They don't put tummy on these little charts that they put down. But do you know, we as people, when we have our material life, we're tensed. Okay. So that's where we're tensed, within our tummy area. So you have to release all that tension away from there. So you've opened up mind, you've opened up heart, you open up tummy. Then the voice starts to be the next. And the reason it's the next is because, you see, once you've opened up, you haven't yet got to the chakras. Okay. You've only got to the tummy area. They start to open your voice. So when you stand and you're wanting to give something out to someone, in your thoughts and in your voice, the words are placed for you. So we'll just say, for instance, I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to make you a cup of tea. From my voice, I'm saying to you, spirits are telling me that you like a lot of tea. Can you see what I'm saying? So your mind showing you one thing, your voice is telling another, because spirits are showing it symbolically here, but bringing it out naturally to you. So that's how they start to take control. Then you open your solar plex. Now, please forgive me, because I do upset a lot of mediums in this. Your solar plex, once you open that, oh, I can stand. I can give a message. I'm fantastic. I'm brilliant because I've opened my chakras. You're still a fledgling. You're still learning. This is only opening part of you. Until you've opened your base, until you're completely as one, you are nothing. I'm going to explain. I've taken lots of people, and I have, Lawrence. I've took lots of fledglings to churches. And this is what I do. I do the same as what I was told years ago. You know, when we used to be in our circles, you were never allowed to get up and stand without the permission of the chairperson, the leader. And it was always a reputable medium. And when you stood, you didn't give out straight the way. And when I say you didn't give out straight the way, let me explain. It took 6 months before I was allowed to stand. I had to listen to everything. I had to be aware of everything. And you know, when you actually was in the circles, this is how they done it. They done it so that when the circle was over and everybody had finished, you went then into the church and you were made to sit in the congregation, and you had to learn to watch how they stood, watch how they moved, listen to their words, listen how they project their voice, watch how they're dressed. You had to aspire to their level. You had to aspire. Today, you've got nobody that comes in now that wants to aspire. They don't want to look to be higher. I've got this. My chakra's open. I can give out readings. I can make money. Well, I'm sorry. It isn't about making money. It's about serving God and doing it in the right way. Sorry, I've just made that part a little bit blunt, but it's true.
No, that's absolutely fine.
Has it helped you a little, Joan? If there's anything else you want to ask, please do.
No, she's saying, yes, I understand. And thank you for taking the time to answer my question. And I know Joan won't mind me sharing this. Very interesting. You said about it's not about hearing, it's about in the voice. Joan has an hearing impairment.
Yeah.
So the way you said it was just, that's why I was grinning. I thought, oh, very good. Yes. Right. We've got the lovely Chris Shearer, who says he was 40 the other day. Yeah, right.
Well, I'll say happy birthday to you, Chris, for the other day.
Yeah, don't forget those date of births we put in. We can all knock 30 years off. Anyway, so Chris has brought up a very important thing and very close to my heart. Right. The topic of, and he's applying it to energy work, but I apply it to all our works. Is what is what is the importance of the intent?
It's very important. To work with the energies is very important. Let me explain something to you. You know, once you've opened your chakras, Chris, and you're working with the energies, they're not your energies. It's the energies of spirit and the energies of the people that are in the congregation. So when you're linking with your helpers, they brought the energies, first of all, to you. You then link to the energies of the person that's sitting in the congregation, because I've said this so many times, and again, I get told off for it. Any medium that has to ask a question is not a medium. They should be direct and tell them what they are sensing, because, you know, a medium is nothing. Do you know the most important person within any group, within any church service, is the person in the congregation? And do you know why? They know who's in spirit, they know how they've passed, and they know what's going on in their life. So if the medium is linking with the correct energies, they will be able to say, father, mother, brother, sister. Can you see what I'm saying? And they will even be able to say, I felt conditions. And that person should be able to feel and sense the energies of that loved one that's there with them, because of the energies that have connected. So the energies are very, very important. Here's something for you, Chris, and I don't know if anyone's ever told you this. When we leave the physical body, we are but a living thought. We are but an energy. And when we go into the realms of spirit, we are just a living thought. But when we wish to return with the blessings of God, when he allows us to return, we have to use all energies, first of all, to project the silhouette, the negative, black or white. Then we have to use the energies to bring the condition upon the medium so they're able to tell them what conditions were there. We have to use all the energies then to build, to bring the words from the voice so that that one person can understand. Because the message isn't for everybody, it's for the one person. So learning to open up, understand the energies, working with the energies is very, very important. I hope that's answered something for you, Chris. If it hasn't, come back to me.
Yeah, no, that was a very good explanation. But the one key thing that I picked up from Chris's question there, and he's now saying he's not 40 yet, but I'm sorry.
You like me, I'm still 21.
Yeah. Is that key word is intent, and people that know me go, oh, here he goes.
Yeah.
Our intents, whenever we are in service to Spirit and to Father, Mother, God, that is the fundamental keystone. It really is. It is the intent. If you put this,
the intent of it all is this. You see, you're linking, you're working with the energies. That's the intent, because what you're doing is before you're giving anything, you're being made aware of all those energies. You're aware of those entities. And this is all brought towards you so that when you give out, you're giving truly. You're giving truly. You're not making things up. Because I'm going to say this to you. I actually went to a church and the medium was on, ? And she went to a lady and she said, I've got a lady in spirit. She said, where's your mother? She said, here. Oh, well, where's your grandmother? She's at home. Oh, well, I don't know who I've got here then. Now they should be linking. They should be able to say who's there. Can you see that?
yeah.
Because I'm going to tell all of you, and I'll say this, and then we'll get back to the questions. You know how I told you I'm one of 9, Mum and Dad 11. I come from a very, very, very large family, and you'll understand what I give here. My dad was one of 27. My mum was one of 16. I'm one of 9. I'm an uncle to 57, great uncle to 52, great great uncle to 40, and a granddad to 6. So when I go into church, I can take any name, any condition, and anybody. You see what I'm saying? So I want someone to give me the evidence, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, Lawrence. Giving evidence.
Yeah.
And you know, Chris is right. It is intense to give everything sincerely. It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Comment here from Phil Shaw, just saying about what you've just been saying, the importance mediums not to ask. I get it. I do get it when mediums ask questions, because we've all gone through that phase at the very beginning where we're unsure.
No, sorry, I'm going to pull you up on that.
Well, most of us have. Well, I have.
Sorry, anyone that is a fledgling, right, is allowed to ask questions of the person that is in control of the circle, not the person they're giving it to. So we'll just say, for instance, if you're a fledgling and you're starting to give a message, remember I said the person that's chairing the circle should be the one that links in with you. And if something is being spoken of that's not right, they should pull you up straight away and say, sorry, no, you're going away from what is. You must never ask. So you're brought back then and you're asked to ask your helper. Ask your helper for more evidence to give out. You see, Phil's just said there's too many mediums that ask questions. I'm going to tell you very quickly, and this is God's honest truth. I'm going back again into the 80s. I got to take a service at Rugby Spiritualist Church on the Sunday evening, but Sunday afternoon I was at Leicester Church, and the medium, and I've learnt this, so this is a trick for all of your friends. When you go into church and the medium comes to you, if you say, God bless you, it's because you know about spiritualism. If you say thank you, you know something about spiritualism. So I went into church in all my scruffs and I sat front row, my arms crossed, and the medium come to me and he said, can I come to you? I said, Tar. Oh, right. He said, can I ask you? He said, are you a carpenter? I said, no. But he said, you deal with wood? I said, no. He said, are you thinking of knocking your kitchen down and restarting again? I said, no. He said, I'm trying. I said, you bloody are. So he carried on and he said to me, he said, I've got a lady here. I want more than a lady because I've just told you I come from a large family. He couldn't give me anything. So I turned and said to him, I said, my friend, had you given me something symbolically, I said, I could have taken it. He said, oh, I never thought of symbols. I said, no, you don't think of them. Spirit show it you and interpretate. He left me, went then to the back of the room, went to a gentleman. He said, I see you in an army uniform. Can you take it? He said, no. He said, it's symbolic like he's just said. So after the service, I went up to him. I said, I'm coming tonight to take the service at your church. I says, if I give out the biggest load of bull that you've just given, come and give me a rollicking. He was there front row, but he never came to me. You see what I'm saying? That they don't understand things. They really don't understand things. And this is what we've got to do. Make people aware. Don't ask questions. If you're receiving from Spirit, give it from Spirit. Okay?
Yeah, don't question it. We've got a fan of yours on. Your earlier comment said...
Hello, Mama, sweetheart.
She's just asking, how long did it take you to be so good with the evidence?
To be honest with you, it was straight the way. It was straight the way, Wilma. And I'm going to explain something to you so you can understand this. Does anybody know about psychometry? You do?
Yeah.
Well, years ago, remember I told you I sat in Marjorie's circle. And this particular Friday, she said, we're going to do psychometry. And she'd got 2 chairs facing that wall, 2 chairs facing this wall, 1 facing the front window, 1 facing the back. And I sat at the facing the back. And she brought me an envelope. Brought me, first of all, a notepad and pen, then give me an envelope. And she said, what I want all of you to do, I want you to sense the energies. And I want you to write down what you're receiving from the energies. We sat there a solid hour and I was writing away, touching the envelope, rubbing it, doing all the rest of it. And then afterwards she said, right, now what I want you to do, the item I want you to put back into the envelope along with what you've written. I said, you what? She said, I want you to put the item back in the envelope. I said, well, you never told me I'd got to take it out. So she said, well, what I'll do, what you've written, I'll staple it. And she said, and I'll give it to the person it's got to go to. Well, everybody were laughing, including myself. I thought, you're right, Pranny. And when I'd finished, we all went home. The following week, we went. And when we went back in, Marjorie said, wow. She said, I'm going to tell you, 4 of you were quite good. 1 of you was absolutely spot on, but the other didn't get a thing. So Sylvia, who was one of the girls with us, she elbowed me. I said, yeah, I'm the bloody rubbish. She said, no. She said, everything that you gave was spot on. She said, I'm going to tell you, I didn't know what I'd done. The envelope I gave you, the item within it belonged to my sister in Birmingham. and she asked me to get someone to do psychometry. And when I shown her what you'd written, she understood everything. So that was the start of me with spirit giving the evidence. And the one thing that I've always learnt is to trust spirit. I know I say it all the time, Lawrence, but mediums don't trust their helpers. They don't trust their spirit guides. And you know, if you put trust in them, they're the ones that take control of you. Because this is something they don't know today. We as mediums, we are servants of God and the spirit. They think they can tell spirit what to do. That's all wrong. It's all wrong. I'm a servant and I'm glad to serve God. I'm glad to serve spirit, and I'm glad to serve mankind as long as it's done in truth. Okay.
Lovely hearing.
Wilma?
Lovely hearing you talk about psychometry. I used to love doing psychometry in circle. And I've never witnessed it, but I have been told that in the long ago past, you would have psychometry demonstrations where people would come in, place an object under the tea towel, go and sit down. Once everybody was in, the medium would come in and then start to psychometrize each object and link in with the person who brought it in. I was just like, I'm too much of a coward to trap myself, but I think that's got to be done.
Lawrence, I'm going to tell you something very important. That is important to do psychometry because you're working on energies, you're sensing the energies. The only thing is, when a person comes in to the church, when they're doing psychometry, they put the rings, the bracelets, the watches or anything onto a tray, then a towel is put over the top or a cloth. What they don't realize is all those energies are mixing. All those energies are mixing. So you're probably lucky enough to have somebody that can link in strong enough, okay? But if you're not linking in properly, you can get somebody else's energies into it. When I do psychometry, this is the way I do it. We'll just say, for instance, you was to hand me a ring. I do not put it in the palm of my hand. I do not go all this business, because when you're doing that, it's your thoughts that's coming in. So if you gave me a ring, as soon as it touches my finger, straight away, you give what is there, because you're sensing the energies. And I went to Bath in Derbyshire, and I done a demonstration on just how easy it is to do psychometry. And I got a hymn book, and I went over to a lady. I said, do you mind? Have you got an item that I can have, please? Put it on the hymn book. I'll take care of it and I'll bring it back to you. She took a ring off and she put it on the hymn book. I never touched it. I went over the other side to a gentleman. I said, have you ever done psychometry? He said, no. I said, my friend, what I want you to do, pick the ring up, and as soon as you touch it, the very word that comes into mind, say it. So he picks it up, he goes, chocolate ice cream. I said, thank you. Put it back. Went back over to the lady. I said, would you mind taking the ring? I said, did you hear what the gentleman said? She said, yes. I said, chocolate ice cream, and you can't stand it, can you? She said, no, I can't. So you see, he didn't know that she didn't. Can you see what I'm saying? So automatically, he linked into it. And this is why you must never put anything on a tray, because you're mixing the energies. Take it straight away. Because here's something else for you. It's a form of psychometry. Have you ever heard of water readings?
Heard of them, that's it. All I've ever heard is the phrase water reading, and that's it. Right.
Well, I'll tell you, my friend, years ago, I knew nothing, and I mean nothing about water readings. No one ever spoke to me about water readings. And I went to Mansfield to take a trans service. And after the service, the president said to me, she said, Barry, do me a water reading. I said, what's one of them? She said, well, your helper has just come through and spoken the address all about water readings. So I said, well, I said, I've never done one. I said, but let's give it a try. And everything that was said, I done. And it was like a duck to water. Now, years ago, when they done water readings, they'd have a big bowl, okay, full of water. And you'd put your hand into that water, take it out, dry yourself up, and the medium then would interpretate what they were seeing through the energies. Then the next person would go up, and the next person. What you're doing there is you're putting too many energies of different people into the water, so you can't do it. The way that Spirit told me to do it, and believe me, I have done several, and if you want, my friend, if I get the chance to come to you and take a service, I will do a water reading for you. What you do is you get, say for instance, I'm asking you, and you want a water reading, I'll say, please go to the kitchen, get a glass, wash it thoroughly, don't dry it, wash it thoroughly. Because if you dry it, the energies that are on the tea towel will go on the glass. I then want you to fill it 3/4 full. I then want you to bring it to the table. And I'm not going to touch it, okay? You've put the glass down. And what I get you to do, I say, now I want you to put a finger into the water. And you put your finger into the water. It's a simple question, but an honest question. I ask you, what do you feel? Well, it's water. It's cold. Right, thank you. That's all I want. And I ask you to remove your hand away from it. What I then do is I look over the glass. Now, a lot of mediums think that you have to look at the glass to see the colours of the rainbow. What happens is this. If you can imagine a car that's been outside your front of the house and it's rained, and when it's moved, you see a rainbow where the oil's been, okay? In your third eye, as you're looking over the glass, Spirit puts the colours there for you, and they interpretate those colours for you, okay? So you're telling them, as you're seeing the colours as you're going over the glass, you're interpreting in a message for them. And when you come to the bottom of the glass, you then say, I'm going to look into the glass. And you know, if the water ripples, that shows somebody that suffered with heart conditions, somebody that suffered with Parkinson's. But if the water's level and it's not moving, somebody that suffered with stroke conditions, somebody that would have suffered in the sense of the mind of strokes, okay? So they can understand who it is. And then I'll say, now watch. And I take my finger and I put it on the top of the water. And I say, look. And it's like a gel, okay? And I'll say, right, remember you put your finger in the water. Remember you said it was cold, wet water. Put your fingers in and pinch it. Pinch it. And they go, oh my God. Do you know why? It's become slime. It's become a jelly. Because all the energies you put in are what's interpreted within the water reading.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I'll be able to show you that. So, sorry, I've carried on again.
No, surely not. We're going back to the lovely Chris, of a dubious age. He just saying, not his view, but he wants to ask, why can't we work direct with Spirit with no guides, as the belief is we are Spirit as well? Oh, yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Well,
That's
my friend, I'm going to tell you, you are a spirit within. Yes. Okay. And that is the reason why you have to open your chakras so that your entities of your inner spirit can then link with the spirits of the loved ones that are around you with the help of your guide. And the reason I say that, Your guide is there, the one that's helping you all the way through. Without your guide, your inner spirit can open up to lots of energies, and they can cause you a lot of problems. And I mean a lot of problems. So you must always have your mainstay, your main guide that's there. And that is why we always say you must never just work on your inner spirit and say, well, I can give a message. That again comes down to the psyche. That's part again of not opening up fully with spirit. That is not giving the truth. And I'm sorry if that's upset you, Chris, but that's the way I am. I speak openly and I speak honestly.
No, I go along with that 100%. Also, different esoteric thoughts come in.
Yeah.
There are laws, spiritual and physical laws that we're not aware of.
Yeah.
But our guides are aware of.
Yes,
and this is how they sort of like keep order. I asked once when I was working mediumistically and looking at my work on the platform, I thought, how come I never see where they are? Why do I not see that? And the voice came straight back and it went, because that's their heaven and not yours.
Yes.
And that made perfect sense to me.
Yes.
That made absolutely perfect sense to me. I just thought, I get that. I really do.
Yeah, because do you know, someone said to me once, years and years ago, they said, where is heaven? Where is heaven? Where is the spirit realms?
I was once told it was just north of Bradford. Truth.
Yeah.
Somebody said, yeah, it's just up by Bradford.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I'm going to tell you, I told them straight out, I don't know. I don't know, because man doesn't know, and spirit will never say where the spirit realms is, because if man could get there, they'd get there. You know what I'm saying? But what I did ask of my helpers once, in the same sense of where is the spirit realms, and spirit replied to me, when you leave of the physical body, your living thoughts goes back to the time when you was at your happiest, So you go back to your time. So then someone said to me, well, if you go back to your happiest in time, when you come back, do you come back as somebody that's younger? No, you don't. Because if your younger version came back to bring a message and you was being described, nobody'd understand you as that younger person. So they've got to come back as they were before their transition, so that you remember them, so you know who they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I totally get that. I've seen people in spirit in their prime, but that was not them at the time of passing. So it would be a pointless exercise to say, you know, I've got a lady here, she's early 40s, really done up, got hair and people would go, no, I've got no idea. But if I said I've got a woman who's 79, and and they go, oh yeah, that's my mum. But you know, yes, yeah, I get that. I get that totally.
Yeah, haven't you found this as well, Lawrence? How many mediums will turn around and say, I've got a lady here, she's about 5'6" in height, and she suffered with a chest. We can all take somebody like that. So, you know, I want something that's going to tell me who's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's interesting. I'm really working on my mediumship at the moment, because I've realised that I'm not fully engaged. So they're in for a hard time.
But you know, Laurie, before you go for the next question, let me explain something to you. You say you do a lot of reading, you got to do a lot of catching up. I have never read a book on spiritualism. I have never looked on the internet of anything of spiritualism. Everything has been given to me from spirit itself. You know, when you read books and you read on the internet, you're only reading about other people's experiences.
Yeah.
You've got to have your own. You've got to have your own. You've got to find your own knowledge with the help of spirit that makes you understand what you're giving is of truth, because it's you that has found it for yourself. Before I let you go on to there, these words I repeat so many times, and I do repeat them. Ask, you will receive. Seek, you shall find. Knock, and the doors will open. You're asking of spirit, so you're receiving. If you seek, you'll find it. And when your thoughts are open to the mind of spirit, that's when the doors open completely for you.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Come on, let's have some questions and tell me to shut up.
Yeah, well, gets me off the hook. How do you feel when trance takes place? I love this question. I love this question.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Lauren. When I take trance, I'll tell you what happens to me. I can be talking to you as I am now. I don't sit and pull funny faces, put on an act and say, I'm Abraham Lincoln, and talk the biggest load of rubbish that nobody understands. When I do my work, I talk as I'm talking to you now. Then all of a sudden, spirit start to take control. And I know when they're taking control because my breathing pattern changes. My chest becomes tight. And then all of a sudden, I can hear my voice changing. The tone is changing. And it doesn't just come, I'm me up. It goes up. It goes up into the tones of it, okay? And it's a case of, right, I'm going to explain to you, friends. Please forgive me, Lawrence, but I'm going to let it happen. This young lady has asked for it, and I'm going to explain to you. Already, my breathing is beginning to change. Already, the chest is becoming tight. So I know that Spirit Divine is very close towards us. And when the Spirit Divine comes very close, they come with the power of the energy of the Spirit. Know this, my child. Those in the realms of spirit speak to man in many ways. Many are chosen, but many are false. You have to find the truth within to allow us of spirit to come forward to you. You above the vessel, you above the channel, you are but one that is given from the realms of spirit to man. We will always use those who are willing. We walk past those that are not. You have asked for spirit to show to you truth. When the vessel is used, we work wisely with him. We know of his body. We know of all within. Because you see, we in spirit. We see all. We hear all. We know all. So you see, we come gently into the physical body, and we will live in the same way, knowing that the vessel is being used wisely to give truth from that of spirit. So you see, when spirit do come to me, can you see how they use me? They come in, they take control. My physical spirit of the body is moved at the back of me, and they come forward. It's like me being up an entry, listening to gobbledygook. It's only you yourself know what the words are being spoken. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be asking questions afterwards, what was said, because you don't hear them.
We just shared all your credit card details and your bank account numbers. I didn't quite know what was going on there, mate.
Well, I know that's the thing. I know that's the thing because I've got no credit cards. I don't believe in them. Oh, you're a naughty boy.
That was awesome. That was really, really awesome. You don't know what you've just done, mate. That was...
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Normally, when I take a service, it's stronger than this. I'm going to be honest with you. It's stronger than what's just been given. What they've just done here is they've just brought through what I call a party piece. Okay, they've brought a party piece because what they've just done is show you how easy it is to enter the physical body if you allow them to take control. And that's what I did.
Yeah. That was spot on. Okay. I'm taking out a copyright on this video before anybody plagiarizes it or nicks it. Thank you, Barry. I did not expect that. And thank you to whoever that was who spoke for you. Big thanks.
Well, usually, I'm going to be honest with you, usually it's Abraham that comes forward, and I'm going to explain to you. Abraham is one from the past that would have been within the desert. And unfortunately, he saw something he shouldn't have seen, and his eyes were burnt out. So when he comes through me, the eyes are open, but my eyes do not see. He takes control of my eyes, you see. And this is why we were talking about earlier when we was talking to Chris, when he turned around and said about why not use the spirit within to give the message. This is the spirit within that's allowing the spirits from the realms to come to work. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anybody else got any questions for me?
No, you've just fused the entire audience. Well done.
The old God.
Somebody called Carl Anderson saying he's already got a few on YouTube. I'm going to get him blocked, Carl. So there you go. I'm going to have sole rights to that one.
No, I'll be honest with you. You say it's Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah, young Kyle. Young Kyle, he runs the group that I go into on a Thursday. And that young man, he's absolutely brilliant. And I will tell you, he does record every time that spirit comes through. So if you want to have a copy from what is from him, he'll willingly share it with you.
Lovely. If you can send me through the link there, Carl, that'd be lovely. Thank you very much. And a wonderful comment here from the States.
God bless. Oh, Heidi, bless her. Beautiful lady. And again, she's in Kyle's group. And I'll tell you something. It's something before I answer towards Heidi's question. She came into the group a couple of weeks ago, and I've never seen this done before. She sat and we watched her home. All behind her, we saw this mist. We saw this mist gather all around her. And we could see the floor. Okay, it's important to remember the seeing of the floor. We could see the floor. Her door opened wide. There were nothing there, then shut again behind. Now, if it was a dog or something coming in, you'd have seen it. There were nothing. It was all the energies. She's such a beautiful lady that knows how to work with spirit in a true spiritual way, and I thank her for that.
Wonderful.
What was your question, Heidi? I forgot.
No, it wasn't a question. It was just saying that she could feel that energy. She's watching from the States, and she could feel the power in there.
Yeah. Well, Lawrence, I'm going to tell you something truthful, my friend, and I'm saying this. If you get the chance to see her and see those energies, you wouldn't question. I'd never seen it before, and I've never seen it build up the way it did with her. It was lovely. The whole group seen that.
Look out, Heidi, you're going to get a message from Paul Church very shortly. Barry, I had no idea what to expect tonight. I did not know about the trance side of it. So when you mentioned it before going on air, I thought, oh, good. That'll be interesting.
Well, I'm enjoying it. So I hope you're not going to say we're going to clear off.
No, well, no, you sort of got that in about, presidents not calling the mediums to time. Yeah, all right, I listened, all right. You carry on. I don't have to be here. I can just go off.
Well, do you know when I'm going to tell you, when I'm in Kyle's group,
I could just do that and I don't have to be here either.
I'll be honest with you. When I'm in Kyle's group and when I'm in the Tuesday group, we can be there until 1:45 in the morning. Okay? And believe me, the energies are all, and there's some fantastic people there. I will say this before we go any further, Lawrence. There is a man in Kyle's group called Patrick. He is fantastic, a fantastic man. And he's got a lot of spiritual knowledge, but he never speaks about it. You have to force him to talk about it. If you get the chance to see him, again, he's another lovely man.
Sorry, what was that name again?
Patrick. I can't remember his last name, but I will tell you. If you ask Kyle, Kyle will tell you. But
okay.
There is one.
Patrick Monaghan. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant.
That's the Irish gentleman, yeah?
That's him.
Yeah.
Fantastic. As I say, we've got a good group and they are lovely people. And there's another one, and I will tell you, his name's Colin. I love him to bits, but by God, he's got knowledge that I've never heard of, and I'm learning from him. Believe me, I am, because he's one of these that is more advanced in the modern way than I am. I'm more of the version of the old ways. You understand?
Yeah, we all are of a generation.
And you know, we've had one or two heated debates, but it's lovely to have those debates because you see, it shows that he's not right, I'm not right. We're learning from each other, and that's the way it should be.
Definitely. And this is the thing as well with spiritualism as a whole. It's a progressive religion. We're not tied to what was written 1800 years ago.
No.
You know, we have the. Funny enough, you're touching on an energy that was around me today. I tuned in earlier on to something, and it was all talking about the great mediums of the past, and I'm thinking,
pioneers.
What about the great mediums of today?
Now
we're in a new era here.
Yeah, but hold on a moment.
Yeah,
I want to talk about the pioneers of yesterday, right? They are pioneers that are helping us today. And it's once we've left this world, we are then pioneers of the past. Can you see what I'm saying? Do you know that there's one thing I always say, and again, I get told off for it, but I don't give a damn, okay? The one thing that nobody talks about in the groups, on these, groups here, you know, the internet and everything, they never talk about the one lady that brought us out into the open of spiritualism, Helen Duncan. Helen Duncan. You ask them, who's Helen Duncan? Who is she? Well, I'll tell you, friends, who Helen Duncan were. If it weren't for her, we would still be today classed as witches under the Witchcraft Act. This lady, she was a materialization medium, and she was very good at her job. And you know, when years ago, they won't allow it today because it's health and safety, but you had to be put into a jacket. You had to either go behind the screen or you had to go into a closet. The door was locked. And that person, Helen Duncan, went deep and she allowed her inner spirit to come out. And when the inner spirit comes out, it's like a snot. It's an ectoplasm. It leaves the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the ears, and it rolls down and it comes under the screen. It comes under the door and it forms a solid spirit for you to see. And this particular day, during the Second World War, there was a gentleman from the War Office who sat in one of her demonstrations, and Spirit went to him, told him of a ship that had been sank, named the ship, said how many people had died upon it. He got up and he walked out. He went straight to the War Office. As he was going into the War Office, the information of the ship that had been sank and how many people had died on it. Because of it, Helen Duncan was arrested as a spy and put into prison.
Yeah.
So Winston Churchill believed in spiritualism, so he asked for her to go to his home, which was something castle, I don't know which it was, and she'd done a demonstration. And because the evidence that she gave to him, on March the 12th, 1953, he turned the Witchcraft Act into the spiritual faith. And if it weren't for her, and this is why we should talk about her, this is why we should always be grateful to that lady for what she done. But they don't know her, they don't know anything about her, so they don't talk about her.
Yeah. No, I read a autobiography written by, I believe it was her granddaughter.
That's right.
And honestly, you could turn that into a, you could have turned that into a film straight off, because in the first couple of chapters, you were gripped, an amazing story. But perhaps I didn't explain myself so well.
Yeah.
People, yes, we should talk about the pioneers, but the way in which it's coming across on a number of platforms is we're revering the older pioneer mediums, but we're not doing anything about the mediums of today, because spiritualism is a progressive.
I do agree there, Lawrence. We do have some fantastic mediums, and I mean fantastic mediums. The only trouble is with that is, unfortunately, it's like the weather. You know, when you see a bright sunny day, they look at the sun, but nobody talks about how bright it is. Nobody talks about the warmth and the energies it brings. If they see a dark cloud, they're all talking about the dark cloud. They're not talking about the light that they're seeing and the energies they're feeling. And that is all of the good old mediums. That we have got some fantastic ones, but they're never recognized. They're never recognized because they say, oh, but they're past it now. No one's past it. No one's past it. Do you know, I'll tell you something very truthful before we go into the questions again. Going back 2 years ago, I was due to take a service at Leicester's Progressive Spiritualist Church in the December. In the November, they had 2 mediums come, and the president started to give them bookings for the following year, 18. And I said to her, I said, what about mine? She said, what about it? I said, well, you always get your best mediums, you know, booked early in the year, and you put the other ones in after. So she done no more. She threw the dictionary at me, the diary at me, put your own dates in. I said, no, if you want me, you call me. I said, and then we can put it the right way. She never called me. Okay. And then she comes in a couple of months after, she said, well, the diary's full now, she said, for 2019. I said, is it? She said, yes. And those that are not booked are past the sell-by date. I said, is that true? She said, yes. I said, well, I've got a booking with you on the 15th of December. Cancel it. She said, why? I said, I'm past my sell-by date.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. As I say, I'm outspoken and I say my piece.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But what I'm getting at is, from my perception, people are holding up, you know, the Gordon Higginsons and that generation, and say, well, you know, this was when mediumship was proper mediumship, which is saying that today it's not proper mediumship. You know, it's saying that, you know, oh, we should, you know, if we had been alive at this time, everything would have been cushy and lovely. But we've got a whole new generation of mediums coming in of all ages for this time. Because this is what I love about spiritualism. Spiritualism is about today and tomorrow. It's not about 1800 years ago.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from, but they've still got to be taught, nurtured in the right way. We can modernize, we can do things different. Now, I'm going to tell you a very quick story about Gordon Higginson. Years ago, I was invited to Stansted, and Gordon Higginson and this very top lady called Mary something or other, she was the highest within the ISM, and I had to go and do a demonstration of my work. And afterwards, he come to me. He said, "Lad, I've never seen anybody work like you." He said, "I'm going to tell you, you're as good as me, if not better." He said, "Would you like to join me?" I said, "No, thank you." He said, "Why?" I guess I don't want to be like you. I didn't want to be like him. I wanted to be Barry Potter. I didn't want to be a cast off from Gordon Higginson or anyone else.
Yeah.
That's it, Phil. It was Mary Duffy. Mary
Well done,
Duffy.
Phil.
Thank you, my friend. That was lovely to know.
I'm just looking for questions. There's a bit of a debate going on about some online circle group here, which, quite frankly, I'm just beginning to bore me now.
All right.
I don't care who runs it. Just go to it. Where are we? There was a question. Oh, Patrick Monahan just joined us.
Lovely.
Yes, so well done, Patrick. It's lovely that you've joined us, sir. And we look forward to seeing you on this channel one Saturday night because Barry just volunteered you.
Yeah.
That's the way to book people. This is great. I love this new age.
I'll tell you something, Lawrence. I can tell you. You know, I told you earlier about I went through a difficult period.
Yeah.
That man has been a godsend to me, and he really has. And he's shown his support for me by putting something up on the internet to the person that caused me the harm. And I won't tell you what words he put up, but it weren't spiritual.
I bet they were worthy. Yeah, I don't know Patrick that well. He is a friend, so I do see his posts and I do smile because it's. Yeah.
No, but he is a lovely man. I'll tell you something. When you get
no frilly bits.
Yeah, he is fantastic.
Right. Oh, there you go. Ah, this is interesting. I know Joan suffers with tinnitus very, very badly.
Yeah.
And she's asking this question for a very good reason. It's something she confided in me. I won't say it because hear your opinion unbiased. Sorry, she's saying, do you believe that tinnitus and spirit can be connected?
Yes, they can. They can. Because you see, what they do is work on the sensitivities of your ear. And what they're trying to do when they're bringing these sounds into your ear is because they're trying to talk to you. They're trying to bring the level within it. And you know, if the vibrations are not right, it sounds just like tinnitus. And it's a case of you're thinking, oh, this is my ailment, this is something. So if they can't bring the whispers of the voice through the ears, okay, what they do is start then to put the conditions of sensing upon you. Okay, so you can still connect, and it is part of the way that they will work with you. Has that answered you, sweetheart?
Yeah, because she's just commented she's found a specific sound.
That's it. That's true. You see, they find the sound, and that's how they work with you, and that's lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joan, for asking the question.
No, that was lovely because that's something we've discussed, and that's why I shut up because, yeah, very good. Lovely Phil Shaw again. It's just backing up about Mary Duffy there, and he's saying he arranged a workshop with Mary at the College of Psychic Studies.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with that. Perhaps somebody can enlighten me on that one. The College of Psychic Studies, is that pre the Arthur Findlay, or is that joint, or what?
Well, I never get into that side of things. I'm going to be honest with you. But you know, Phil, if you knew Gordon Higginson and you also knew Mary Duffy, you would also know you know, she was in my, please forgive me, my brain drops. Oh, Christ, Beryl Ilston, CSNU, DSNU, MSNU, all the U's you want to think. You should have known her because you were down at Stansted more times than anybody. With her squeaky voice that you wanted to strangle.
I'll just quickly check that she's not on tonight. No, you're all right. Carry on.
I'll be honest, sorry, yeah, Lawrence, she was on. Me and her, we've had more discussions than you think, and not all of them are being spiritual.
Thank you very much, Phil. That was my question about the College of Psychic Studies. So that was pre the Arthur Findlay. Now that's a shame. That is a shame because I knew nothing about that place. Yeah, no disrespect. It's all AFC, Arthur Findlay College. La, 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 la. I'm not being disrespectful whatsoever. But it just seems like that chunk of history has been edited out and then something else has overshone it, which is, I feel personally, is a shame because any place that sets themselves up to scientifically and seriously investigate spiritualism. We did a program just recently with the Arthur Conan Doyle Centre up in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And Edinburgh have an amazing history of working with spirit on a really serious level.
Yeah.
Really intense, really scientific, really investigative.
Yeah.
And we don't hear anything about it. It's all overshone by whatever.
Yeah. Well,
and I think that's sad.
I'm going to tell you something, Lawrence. I'm not going to lie to anybody because it's not something I do. You'd be surprised how many mediums actually send requests to become friends with me from Arthur Findlay's, okay, that developed with Arthur Findlay. And I think to myself, well, why do you want to be a friend with me when Arthur Findlay's supposed to be that good?
Yeah. I don't want to go too far down that road. We've all got,
I've got nothing against it. What I'm saying is, he's supposed to be that good. Why do people want to come to just a common person like me?
Yeah.
To want to join me because the knowledge they should already have.
I think it's a small reflection of the greater issue that spiritualism is having at the moment, where it's become all about the medium and not about the message. Yeah. And I say that very openly, and anybody wants to tackle me over it, bring it on. Because I see it time and time again, people rave about somebody, and it's like, I've seen them work, and not being funny, it's been all right.
Yeah.
I've not seen anything. I know when my socks are blown off, I know it. And I have been very privileged to have seen and sat in circle with some people and just seen the most amazing experiences.
Lovely.
It's not it's not a series of. Sorry, carry on.
There's something to do here, Lawrence, right? And probably the others will do it as well. This is something else that's never shown, told and spoke about within the circles, your groups. If you sit and look at a person, right? Don't look at the face, look about 2 inches above the head. So you're not looking at the face, you're looking above them, but still can see the face, right? You will actually, while you're looking, you will see their inner spirit show themselves because the faces alter and you see the face change completely. So you're able to explain to them and see who's come through.
Wow.
Now that's something for you to do. And we were told to look for everything like that. The same as is another thing. No one tells you either to look for the auras around people because the energies from that person reveals a lot. I'm going to say something to you here, Lawrence. I'm not one that comes on these groups to give out messages. I'm not. You've got a lovely background behind you. But do you know what stands out from you are 2 colours. One is a very thin band of gold. That shows to me you're pure of heart. And when I say pure of heart, it's because everything that you do it truly. You put 100% into it. You're not half-hearted. You put 100% into it. But then I also look just around you and I can see a very pale red. Now, when I see that, that automatically shows there's agitation, frustration, and confusion all around you at this moment. And to be honest with you, you're getting yourself all worked up inside and you get very agitated. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So you, and this is because I'm looking at you and I'm not giving you a message. You are sending that out. And this is what we talk about when we say learn to sense, work with the energies, because when you start to do all of that, your eyes are open. You're open to everything and you sense it all, and you're able, with those few words that I've just given to you, I know nothing of you at all. Tonight's the first time I've ever spoken, yet you can understand that.
Yeah.
You see, and that's what we're supposed to be doing. We as mediums are supposed to bring evidence to you so that then you say, well, he didn't know that. Where did that come from? I want to know more. Can you see?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Thank you for that. Yes. I am aware of the red and I am trying to deal with it, and I'm taking me time, but I am getting there. It is progressive, not degenerative, so that's good.
Yeah.
That is always a good thing. You've just thrown me totally now, because I was about to come out with something quite profound and it's totally gone. Nobody's got any more questions just at the moment. I'm so enjoying this conversation. I really am. It's refreshing, very refreshing.
Well, I'm enjoying myself here. To tell you the truth, tonight is exactly the same as the Thursdays and the Tuesdays. People are so fantastic, but where I'm not with your group, I'm not able to see them face to face. With Kyle's and with Judith's, I can actually see them face to face, so I can talk to them like I'm talking to you, and I love that because you can connect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight we're not a specific group. Our Saturday nights have started up in early April time, because keeping the spiritual community together. And I did want a different platform from doing mediumship, not being detrimental to mediumship, but again, as I was saying earlier, it's become more about the medium than the message. And people were so message driven. And in fact, somebody tonight has put a comment in, have you got anything for me? And I've had to stop answering those because I get told off.
You ought to have said yes. You ought to have said yes. When the Terrans say, have you got anything for me? You ought to say yes. You ought to go back and find some idiot that'll do it, because you're no idiot. You know?
Yeah, I do find that frustrating. But as I said,
sorry, Lawrence, this is where people do not understand spiritualism. You see,
exactly.
They come and they think we're fortune tellers. Are you going to tell me if my mum's going to be all right? Am I going to have a baby? Am I going to get some money? I'm in a mess. And is my boyfriend coming back to me? They're material conditions. We don't know about material. We can give help. We can give guidance. We can give strength from their loved ones that are in spirit to reassure them that they're not on their own.
Yeah. And that's very good, because, as I say, these Saturday nights, and recently I've just done a small series, Aspects of Spiritualism, is to bring in all the facets of spiritualism and not do the messages. And I say, I'm not being disrespectful to mediumship, but I just felt impelled to offer that counterfoil to message all the time online, and no teaching, no understanding. So nights like this are so important in my heart.
Can I say something here to you, my friend?
You're asking me for permission to speak?
Yeah.
Really?
I do apologise, but this
Please note the time, everybody. 20:57 on the 28th of November.
I'm going to explain something to you, and you'll understand this, Lawrence. I am going back late 70s. I used to go to the churches regular. If I wasn't serving, I'd be there. And this particular Sunday evening, The medium come up on the platform, opened in prayer, gave the address, then went to a lady. And as he went to this lady, he spent the whole hour with this lady. I want you to listen carefully. He spent the whole hour with this lady. After the service, everybody went mad. They complained to the president, to the committee. He spent all that time with just one lady. The following Sunday, he gets to the church. The president stands upon the platform and said, "How selfish are you all? How selfish are you all?" This lady, every Sunday for 25 years, has come into this church and never received a message. That night was hers. They didn't know where to put the face. Can you see what I said? Didn't know where to put the face because they think it's all about me, me, me. You'd be surprised how many people will sit in the congregation willing for a message. They'll take anything that comes, and then when they leave the church, "Oh, that were a load of rubbish. I didn't understand it." Well, why take it? You know, that's how it is.
Yeah. No, it's very true. Another part, you know, when people say, "Oh, I want to be a medium," and you think, really? I don't know what vision you've got of mediumship. You know, I open my front door and I walk into this celestial wonderland where, you know, the spirit turn my bed down for me and make me tea. But I can guarantee you it's nothing like that. And also, you're going to put yourself up there in front of people and automatically by default inviting their not verdict, what's the word, not judgment, that's far too hard,
no, but
their opinion of you. And that can be so hurtful. I've had it from people, and I'm not being rude or nasty, they're about as spiritual as this bottle of water, and then proceed to tell me how wrong I've been in what I've said, and I'm just looking at them thinking, I can't react, because if I do, me will come out, and trust me, you don't want to see me at the moment. Yeah, so yeah, it is. Yes, please do.
I've had so many people that have said to me, "I want to become a medium," and I say, "Why?" And I get virtually the same answer every time. One is, "Well, I want to see my mum, or I want to see my dad, or I want to see someone that's passed over." And the other is, "Well, when you become a medium, you make a lot of money." Well, I'm going to tell you, my words to them, how selfish. I said, because you see, what you have just done there, you've not said you want to work with God, you don't want to work with spirit, and you don't want to work to help mankind. It's what I can gain for myself. And that isn't what it's all about. Because I will say this to you, Lawrence, and then I know that one or two may want to ask questions. I've done my work 43 years. I have never, ever taken money from a church to do a service. My friend who has to drive me, he has to take petrol money. And if they don't have enough money to cover it, I've had to pay that. And at the same time, if I've had to stay overnight, I've had to pay for myself and for him to be in bed and breakfast. It's sometimes, if I've gone for a weekend, it's cost me over £400. I can't ask the church for that money because the church don't get that money. And yet you've got these idiots, sorry for saying it, these idiots, it's all about what I can gain for me. You know?
Yeah, no, it's very true. My tactful response now, or at this time when people say that to me, is I say, "And what then?"
Yeah.
"I want to be a medium." "Okay, and what then?"
That's it.
Because you don't just become a medium and that's it. You know, it's a part of your progression. It's not the end point of your progression. It's a part of your progression. So you start showing that you've actually put some thought into this, and you actually understand on a bigger level, you know, that this page of the eternal life has purpose and meaning. But that's
here's something else for you, Lawrence. Do you know when people come for private readings, right? I'm going to tell you, those that are serving truly with spirit, okay, do not charge the earth. You've got too many that are charging 25, 35, 50 and 70 pounds for readings. When a person comes for a reading, they come for guidance, for reassurance. They're going through difficulties, and 9 times out of 10, it's financially. So therefore, when that person comes, they don't want to be robbed. It's true. They don't want to be robbed because that person needs that money. You see, as Karen said, if you take 25, 35, 50 and 70, right, that person has got to work either half a day and all you've given them is half hour, or they've had to work all week and all you've given them is half hour. That to me is all wrong, because you should look at your clients that come to you, because 9 times out of 10, they're one parent families. They're on low income or the pensioners, you know, so they can't afford these ridiculous prices. I think they're silly. I'm sorry.
I agree. The money issue has always been a contentious subject and will always invoke different reactions. Like you, I don't charge. I'm in that position. If I incur an expense to go and serve a church, I do a church locally, and she always laughs when I say it. They do a service on a Sunday. They book you for the weekend. So you do Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Monday night. I don't drive, so I'm on the bus. So when it comes to my expenses are £5.40, which is 2 days each way on the bus.
I'll tell you something.
And she always laughs.
I'll tell you something here, and this is again the truth. I don't go beyond. I had to go and take a weekend service. When I say weekend, I'm talking about Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening service. I left Leicester. I had to catch the train, £3.50. Okay, I done the afternoon service. I done the evening service, and the president said to me, "Barry, what's your expenses?" I said, £3.50, please. She said, "You what?" I said, £3.50. She said, I can't tell you, but she said, when you sign the book, look at the medium, what they charged, right, for a Tuesday afternoon, and they only live down the road. And when I signed the book for my £3.50, she charged £25.
Yeah.
To me, why did they do it? You see, here's something else for you, and then we'll go on to people if they want to ask questions and things like that again, if there's out there. But
we just sort of opened up a social group in the chat room tonight. We've been left out of it, mate.
Oh, right.
They're all off.
Oh, that's it. I've upset them. But no,
they're all having a good old chat.
Yeah, I was asked to go on, like you've asked me here, to go to do a survey, like a group like this in York, okay? And when he came to me, he said, "Barry, what's your expenses?" I said, "What do you mean, what's my expenses?" He said, "Coming on here, doing this." I said, "Nothing." I said, "I ain't got to pay for the transport to get me there, for the petrol. I ain't got to stay overnight. I'm at home doing what I would normally do. So why should I charge?" He said, "Well, they're charging £50. Charging £50.
I have just been blown away by so many wonderful people, including yourself, who are giving their time freely for these nights. I mean, we've been on all bar one Saturday night since April, and we've been worldwide as well. and we've had some absolutely beautiful people talking, sharing some really wonderful knowledge, inspiration, information, education, and never ever ask for a penny. And I just think, oh,
they're genuine. They're genuine ones.
Yeah,
and
thank you so much.
You know what I like about what you just said there? You've got people that are bringing in questions and, you know, demonstrations, different things. That is helping others to understand things, because at the end of the day, we're all searching. As I said, I've done this 43 years. I've seen spirit all my life. I could tell you many stories, and believe me, I could tell you many stories of experiences that I've had. Okay. And it's nice to share them. And it is nice to share them, because when you're ready to bring some questions in, okay, someone's just gone Sue message, is it, or something? Message me? No, it's just on the top of mine, so it's probably one of the messages that's on my, you know, thingy at the side. But no, I'm going to tell you, this is a very true story. I used to take people on ghost walks, okay? And this particular night, I had people from Nottingham, from Sheffield, from Derby, and I took them on a ghost walk of Leicester. And I took them to what we call Blaby Ford, okay? And you go over the ford, and there's a field, and then there's a cemetery, okay? And then further along, there's a big church with a big wall about 18 foot high, okay? So we all goes, and we're there, and I said, right, what I want you to do is to switch your phones off, and you know, the lights. I says, and your torches. I says, and we're going to go into the cemetery and see what happens. Well, we starts to walk in, and all of a sudden I heard a voice say, "Find Joseph the devil." I went, what? "Find Joseph the devil." So I turned around and said to everybody, I said, will you put your phone lights on and put your torches on? And what I want you to do is go up and down the headstones, and I want you to find Joseph, the name of Joseph. So they said, okay. Well, a good hour we were going up and down. There wasn't one Joseph in that cemetery, in that part. So I turned and said, well, that's strange, because Spirit is saying to me, Joseph the devil, we've got to find him. So one of the ladies said, well, why don't we go down to the church there where the big wall is? There might be some headstones down there. So I said, well, if we go with that big wall, it means that we're not going to be able to get in. They said, well, let's go anyway. So we goes down, the gate is locked. So I said, there, I told you. So I said, but let's just walk around. I said, there might be an opening. So we goes round, and it's all lit up. So I turned and said, we can see the headstones, it's all lit up. I said, so we're not going to see anything here. But behind the church, it was all dark. So we all started, there's about 20 of us. We're starting to walk up the path. And as we come to the back of the church, the security lights come on. So not here. I said, it's not here. So I said, come on, let's go back. And just as we turned to come back, there on the headstone, as clear as day, was the head of the devil. Everybody saw it. Everybody scattered and ran all over the place. But there was me and a friend called Matthew. And I said, I've got to go down to see if it's Joseph. I've got to go down. He said, well, you can go over to the grave. He said, but I'm staying on the path like that, you see. So it goes over, it goes to the headstone, and I can still see the devil's head on it. But I couldn't see any name on it. So Matthew said to me, he said, have a look on the other side. And on the other side, there it was. Joseph died 1776. Well, you see, if you look back, he must have been a medium. He must have been a medium, because you see, he would have been classed as the devil.
Yeah, yeah.
what I'm saying? So you see, these things we've seen for ourselves, and I've had so many experiences, Lawrence. I could write a book.
Funny you should say that.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit of a battle cry going on in the chat room at the moment amongst people making assignations there 30 years ago.
Well, I'm going to be honest to both of you for asking that question. I'm being serious. On my page, and if you want to go and have a look, Barry Potter, Spiritualist Medium, I started writing of all my experiences. And I'd done it for quite a few months, putting it down, and everybody loved it. And then I got negative feedback from certain people who called themselves mediums, who turned around and said, they must be a load of lies. All these experiences you've had, we as mediums, we've never had them. I said, the reason being, you're not mediums. Because if you're mediums, you get out there and you experience and you search for the truth. And that's what I did. That's what I did. In one part of writing the stories, I spoke about my house. Remember, I told you it was haunted because it was an undertaker's.
Yep.
Well, at one point, I put in my book, well, in the writings, I turned around and said, when we left school to go home, if Mum or Dad wasn't in the house, we wouldn't go in. We'd sit on the crates outside the shop, watching them, watching us. And people say, no, you don't. But believe it or not, there were so many things that had happened. Friday nights, you can remember these times, Lawrence, but we was going back in the 50s. You'd have the old tin bath in front of the fire. And when we were sitting there, top and tail, my mum would get a brush, she'd put it under the living room door, okay, because the living room door would go into the kitchen. She'd put it there. And as we were bathing, the cellar door opened and they would walk through us. They'd walk through the bath. You'd see the door open and you'd see the brush move. And as they'd gone through it, the door went back and the brush was exactly there. Can you see what I'm saying? And I spoke about these experiences. And here's another one for you. And I'm sure these things you will remember. When me and my brother, I was 12, he was 10. I had chicken pox, he had measles. And what you did years ago, you put two chairs together, top and tail, curtains closed, and a raging fire to keep the heat and everything. Now, my mum was a big lady, and she was 6'1" and way out here, okay? And this particular night, she pushed the settee up to the living room door, okay? And she laid on it. And all of a sudden, I saw the settee, and it was an old-fashioned Dorset settee, which were very heavy.
Yeah.
It lifted up. It lifted up with my mum on it, and it floated across, and it didn't go down. It stayed, and I'm looking there. My eyes are bulging, and my mouth's open. The door opened, and all of a sudden, this little old man with a walking stick walked through. He looked at me, he winked at me, and went and sat on a chair that wasn't there. He got his stick and he poked it at the fire, and you saw the kindling going up. And after a few seconds, he got up, looked at me, walked out the door closed, and my mum floated back to the door again before the settee went down. And I went, Mum, did you see that? She said, shut up and get sleep. So can you see what I'm saying? I put all these things down. I wrote about it. But because of the people that said it, I stopped doing it. They said, oh, you must be making stories up. Well, I'll tell you something. I could I could write more, and I would write more, because people kept saying, write a book, write a book. And I'm not going to lie to you, Lawrence. I am terrible at spelling. I am terrible. You see, when I was younger, when I was at school, you had to write it as it sounds. And
Yeah.
that's what I do today. I write it as a sound.
Yeah, exactly the same. We had phonetics when I was a kid, and now when I write, thank God for spell checker.
Well, if I'm writing something down, I'm not going to lie to you, it takes me longer than it should do, because I get my phone and I do it on there first of all. If it ain't on there, I go to the dictionary to try and find.
Yeah, I've done that as well. But yeah, awesome experiences, Barry. I have all mediums, and most people have had spiritual encounters of some degree or the other.
Lovely.
I mean, a lot of the time people, oh no, that's my imagination. I have found myself over the last few years, I just had to take a sense check and thought, right, either I am actually going mad, or I am really, for some reason, got a lot going on around me. But some of it can be so subtle as well, can't it? It can just be, and I love it when I have a thought, and we've covered this, and I can't remember what the thought was. I'm of that age now. I have one thought, and it pushes out something I learned earlier on. Prayer. You know, you're just talking about it, and it comes up unbidden in conversations with other people, and I just love that, because I know that spirit. I know that is spirit going, talk about prayer, because he's going to find that it'll help him at this time. And it's just awesome, isn't it? Absolutely awesome.
It is something I'm going to ask you. I have a lot of fledglings who will say to me, I cannot give an address. Why can't they?
Well, because I said I can't, and that's one of the most negative, destructive words that we could ever say to ourselves.
No.
And it's not all about
anybody.
Will you stop giving me tests that I keep failing, Barry? I'm the host, all right? Make me look good.
No, I'm going to tell you something. The reason I've just said that, okay? People turn around, these fledglings try to say, I cannot give an address. Yes, you can. Because do you know, when you stand on the platform, talk about your experiences. Talk about how you came into the church. And you know, when you're talking about your coming into the church, what you've experienced, do you know the people in the congregation can relate to you, because they've gone through it? And do you know, this is something Marjorie always told me. Sorry, I'm moving my glasses, but they're a bit loose. But I'm going to be honest with you. Marjorie always said to me, Barry, when you're on the platform and you're giving the address, speak of what you know. What you don't know, leave alone. And she said, you know, when you're giving your address, you've got the congregation in your hand. And once you've got them in your hand, you've got them for the service. And it's true. Because, you know, when I go on the platform, I'm going to be honest with you, this is how I start. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mr. Barry Potter from Leicester. I'm as common as they come, and I'm proud of it. And you see the people just relax. And then I'll say to them, and I'm very outspoken, so if I offend you, tough. And you get them all laughing. And then you talk about your experiences, and you start to talk about, shall I turn around and say, this is me. I talk a lot about the standards of mediumship. And do you know, you've got the congregation, because they're seeing the standards of mediumship. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I never pull a medium down. I never talk about them. I always say the standards of mediumship. And they come to me afterwards, why can't we have more mediums like you? You're open, you're honest. That's what we should be. Down to earth, grounded, not stuck up there pretending we're something we're not.
Yes. Phil's put a lovely comment here, saying about when he runs the open platform at Wimbledon Church, he asked the fledglings to talk about themselves with a view to learning how to give an address.
Lovely. That is lovely, Phil. The same as another thing we used to do years ago. Those that have been coming into the circles for a period of time, we ask them to get up and say a prayer. And that is important as well, because you see, as I said earlier, a prayer comes from the heart. A prayer comes from within. And if you're giving something from within yourself, everybody is on the edge. Everybody's listening to your prayer. And it's important. So I do thank you, Phil, for that. Hey, that shows you're one that's a genuine one.
That's interesting. Again, picking up again on this prayer topic, because that's one of the things people find really insurmountable at first to do in circles. I get people, I'll just say, you're doing a prayer tonight, and oh no, please don't, no, do it, because you need to keep doing it, because it's a very deeply personal thing as well, isn't it? Prayer, to begin with, when you're first in, it's a very personal thing, and you don't want to share it because you feel like you sound daft or whatever, or you haven't got the confidence, or you can't do it justice. I had a really interesting experience in one of my circles. I've got a lovely lady who's Portuguese, and although her English, she is very good on her English. Her English is a damn sight better than my Portuguese, let's put it that way. And we were doing prayer, and I said to her, "Your turn." And she was doing a prayer, fair play to her. She got up, started doing it, but because of the faltering English, she was struggling. And I said, "Stop, stop, stop." I said, "Do it in your own language." She went, "You won't understand me." And I said, "It doesn't matter. Do it in your own language." And we all sat there slack-jawed when she was saying it. And I said, that was brilliant, because you've just demonstrated exactly what I was talking about, the power of prayer.
Exactly.
You did not need to understand. It was there.
It doesn't matter about the language. The words that are spoken, you're sensing. It's being brought out genuine. It's coming from the heart.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something here, Lawrence. This has happened twice to me. I went to Rushden Spiritualist Church many years ago, and I took the afternoon service in trance. Okay. And afterwards, a lady came to me. She was crying. She hugged me. She said, "Thank you for bringing my mum forward." And I said, "Did your mum come?" She said, "Yes." And she said, "I understood every word she said." I said, "Lovely." She said she spoke in her own language. I said, "You what?" She said she spoke in her own language. I said, "And what language was that?" She said, "German." This is as much as I know about German. But that's as much as I know. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well demonstrated.
Yeah, no, I can't. And then the other one, I went to take a service at Swansea Spiritualist Church down Oxford Street. Have you ever been there?
No.
Well, it's above a shop. You have to go up the stairs, and for the pensioners, they've got these seats that go up. You can sit on it, the electric chairs, I call them. And I went there and I took a service. And afterwards, a gentleman come to me. He said, "My God," he said, "I have never seen anybody do that before." I said, "What?" He said, "My dad came through you." He said, "My dad wouldn't speak English. He'd only speak Welsh." He said, "And you were talking to me." He said, "I nearly answered you back in Welsh." He said, "That's how strong it were." He said, "Do you understand Welsh?" I said, "I'm going to tell you, my friend, the nearest I got to speaking Welsh, while I was here one day, I went into a pub and I stood at the bar and the phone went, and I picked it up, and this is exactly what I'd done. I picked it up, I went, "Hello, Swansea Police Station," and they put the phone down. So that's as much as I do. But it's nice when you can do that, when you allow spirit to come. And it's always an honor. You see, like I've just said, I've served Oxford Street. I've also been to Swansea. I've been to that of Aberystwyth. I've been to that of Merthyr Tydfil. I've done all round that way. I've also done Bournemouth. And believe it or not, I did years ago, and I'm talking early 80s, I did do Poole.
All right.
Yeah, but it was a Christian spiritualist church that I went to. And
Yeah.
we looked, it weren't far from the harbour. I can remember that. It weren't far from the harbour.
Yeah. Well, it's the same building behind the mountains.
Yeah.
It's still here. Oh,
Oh,
right. I never knew that.
yeah. As we see, people don't realise this. I've not just stuck to my hometown or just outside. I have travelled thousands of miles. And to show how dedicated I've been, not before Ken, my driver used to take me around. I had to go by bus or by train to go to take a service at places, okay? And sometimes I hadn't got a penny. And I've walked from Leicester to Nottingham and back. I've walked from Leicester to Coventry and back, to Leicester to Nuneaton, from Leicester to Hinckley. I've walked hundreds of miles to take the service. I've started out at 8 o'clock in the morning to get there to make sure I'm taking the service at 6. And then I probably get home at 4 o'clock in the morning walking. And I've never took a penny. I've never took a penny because that shows dedication.
Yeah.
Shows dedication. I never want to let people down. I never want to let the churches down. You ask the mediums if they'll do that today.
Yeah, very true. It is about dedication. You make those appointments, and another thing coming in on that vein about, I want to be a medium. Oh, okay. You want to give up like every Sunday for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Because that's what being a medium's all about.
Well, this is how dedicated I am. I'm going to be honest with you. And Ken did take me, right? We went from Leicester to Fleetwood, okay? 158 miles. We stayed overnight. I took nothing for the service, and they paid Ken £20 petrol money. The following day, we went from Fleetwood to Great Yarmouth, 276 miles. We had to stay overnight, and they paid Ken £40. They didn't give me a penny to the hotels. They didn't give the money to the food and things like that because I know the churches can't do it. And the lady said, "Oh, you must be dedicated then." I am dedicated. That's why, and please forgive me because I'm going to bring a bit of negativity here. That is why I've been upset over the last few days over this idiot that has pulled me down the way he has. Yeah. Because I've given my life to Spirit. I haven't just come in and wanted to be on a pedestal, the great I am.
Yeah, the internet is a double-edged sword that people can throw out in the heat of the moment, unthought of, and the most hurtful comments.
Yeah.
And you just you got to develop a bit of a shell when you're going through the comments and just go, okay, yeah, fine, that's what you think, fine, off you go with it.
Can I say something to you, Lawrence, please? And I'm saying this.
Well, you've not asked me for the whole night, and you've just been talking at me for the last 2 hours, so I don't know why you started now, but yeah, carry on.
I'm going to say this in good faith. I don't want to put his name over here.
No, I don't. No, leave it.
But the reason I'm saying this, will you allow me to send his name to you so he doesn't join your group? Because he is one of the most negative people and he will cause a lot of disruption. And if you don't believe me, ask Kyle.
I don't know you that well, but from what I've seen tonight, I trust you.
Well, thank you, because you see, with me, the one thing, and it is from the heart when I say this, I will not lie. I will not lie, and I don't go out of my way to hurt anybody. This isn't the way I am. But I would like him to come into your group, because, if you have a word with Kyle, okay, he'll tell you that night he was on, people started to drift away from the group.
Yeah.
And they put up, they comment, when I put up about the experience I had, they put up and said, we've left because the negativity, the energies. And you don't want that in yours.
No, there are people like that, and you get them from time to time coming to the church as well, and you just know the second they walk in, you go, oh dear, what? You just know something's wrong, and but that's, you know, spirit sort of like going, hello, have another look, and we did have. I don't want to go too deep in that. We had somebody come to the church, and their persona to a lot of people was sweetness and light and la 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 la. My experience was very, very opposite, and it was so interesting the way these people sort of like wheedle in, you know, and you could see her being oh, sorry, I gave the sex away there. You could see them. You could see them operating on different levels with different people to wheedle their way in, and what was underneath it all was quite dark and malignant, quite frankly.
Well, do you know this is? I'm going to tell you, this is me, Lawrence. I serve two spirits, and I'm going to explain to you what I mean by two spirits. I work with spirit, in spirit, but straight after the service, I'm in the pub for the other spirit. And I've always done that. And I'm going to tell you, when I go, say if I came to your church, don't put me in a medium's room, I won't go. Do you know what I love to do? I love to talk to the congregation, have a laugh and a joke before I don't want to know them. I don't want to know the business. I don't want to know who's in spirit. I want to have a laugh so they can see, hey, this man is down to earth, you see. And then when I do the service, afterwards, they're actually kicking me out of the church because everyone's talking and I'm talking to everybody. And then straight afterwards, you'd be surprised how many people from the church and committee come in the pub when we're all drinking together. And they see me as I am, because I'll tell you why I do this, Lawrence. You know, when we used to run our circles years ago, we had one in Vaughan Way, one in Lee Circle. And after the circles, we would always go into the Cherry Tree. We learnt more in the pub than we did in the circle. And if we was at Lee Circle, we'd go to the Prince of Wales. And again, we learnt more there. Can you see what I'm saying? And you learn more. And I'll tell you why I say this. You learn more, but the simple fact is you're free to talk. You're free to be open. Wherein you're in a church, you have to abide by the rules. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? You have to abide by the rules. But once you're away from it, you can relax, and you can, because you see, this is true. Remember I told you I went to Albert Road Spiritualist Church and there was 1,000 people there. There was a lovely medium called Betty McKinder. She was a Roman gypsy. She would never get on the platform unless she had 6 double whiskies. And when she was on, by God, her services were fantastic. And one day she come down to the pub, the Prince of Wales, and there was about 15 of us all sitting there. And she got hold of my hand and she said, I'm not long for this world. She says, but I'm going to tell you something. She said, when I leave this world, 6 months after my passing, you will have a booking at Albert Road Spiritualist Church and you will stand among 1,000. I said, don't talk wet, Betty. She said, you mark my words. And mark her words I did, because 6 months afterwards, Eileen Clark, the president, gave me a booking. And by God, it was that full. The energies were that strong that they had to take people, and you know this, they had to take people downstairs into the medium's room because they were passing out with the energies. Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen that in a den. I was just like, wow, that's not heat exhaust, that is the energies.
No, that's true. That's true.
And again, I do love the way Spirit bring everything in together. Where you're talking there about going to the pub afterwards, one of the things here at Paul, since I took over, very keen on building up that community feel with days out, trips, going out for a meal, just doing stuff, because it is all about community. And that links in lovely. We had Brian Robertson on from Canada on Thursday night talking about community. And that is it. That is the essence for a really vibrant church. To not just walk in, sit down, shut up and go. You know, that is not a church to me. That's like a hole in the wall.
This is something about me. And if you want to get on the internet and get to talk to these people, they'll tell you. Do you know, with me, this is the way I work. If I see a fledgling, now before I go any further, have you ever heard of Mark Brandis?
Yes.
International. You talk to him. It was Barry that brought him forward. And I'm going back 5 years ago. I hadn't seen him for over 25 years. And I went and I sat at the back of the church. I didn't know he was going to be on. And when he came on, nobody knew I knew him. And he gets up, he opens in prayer, he gives his address, then he's coming to the clairvoyance. And all of a sudden he goes, oh my God. So I think he's linking with Spirit. He said, it's Barry Potter. And he ran off the platform and he come straight up to me. He was hugging me and they were really tight. And he gets back on the platform. He said, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Barry Potter. He said, the best medium you will find. And he started talking about how I helped him. And I shrank. I went down like that. And when I take people out, if I see a fledgling, Lawrence, and I see they've got potential, I will take them to the churches with me. And like if I've gone to Blackpool, they haven't had to pay petrol. They've not had to pay for their hotel room. They've not had to pay for their food or for their drink. Everything has been on me. I've paid for it all, but I get them up on the platform. I allow them to give just a couple of messages, and then the people of the churches give them bookings. That's how you help people along.
Yeah.
You don't think for self-gain. Because someone said to me once, what do you gain from helping these mediums, you know, these fledglings? I said, I tell you what I get. My reward is seeing them spreading the word of God and Spirit. That's my reward. It's true, isn't it?
Very. I was introduced to the churches in that fashion. My circle leader at the time used to take me around, and I'd be allowed to do one prayer, one message, and maybe the reading if I was been very, very good. But it was that introduction to the churches. And then I was very blessed. There's two ladies I know down here, not of my circle, but they'd just got to that glass ceiling in the circle of not progressing. So I invited them to come round with me, and it was that introduction. And people were saying, "Oh my God, they're brilliant." I said, "Yes, I know they are. So book them."
Yeah,
that's why I brought them out. Book them, get them working.
I'm going to tell you a very true story here, Lawrence. I'm going back 4 years ago. I'm not going to give his name because I don't think it's right to do so, but there was this medium who years ago used to come to me for readings, okay? And he was just a fledgling. And 4 years ago, he's running a group, you know, a circle, and he's bringing mediums forward. And there was this young man, I would say no more than 20. He'd got a booking at Bourneway Spiritualist Church. Now, any medium fledgling that's taking their first service, the person that is bringing them forward should be on the platform with them to help them, to give them support. He didn't. He sat behind me with his arms folded like this. And this young man got up on the platform and he started faltering. So what did I do? I'm sitting there and I'm sending all the energies towards him. He starts to pick up, right? And then all of a sudden it drops down again. So the service, instead of being the hour and a half, it finished in 3/4. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So anyway, I turned around and I said to this person, I said, you sat there and you've watched your fledgling fall to the ground. He said, what do you mean? I said, you should have been up there giving him support. I said, he is your protege. I said, you should have been supporting him, giving him guidance, to give him the confidence. He said, oh no. He said, I just get them to get a service on the platform. It's up to them what they do. I went mad with him. I went mad.
Wrong. Well, Mr. Potter, you've outed that most mediums are alkies. Well done.
Oh,
you didn't drop anybody else in it. Apparently, Albert Best used to have a his tipple.
Oh, I tell you something. Albert Best and Harry. There was Albert and Harry Best, and I'll tell you something. They were good. They were good. I'll tell you something. When you talk about the pioneers, when you look back at them mediums, Etty Wilkins, Olive Tomlinson, Ivy Ball, John Sherwin, these are mediums. These are the ones. And you also had Ethel Deacon. And Ethel Deacon, do you know, if you were in her church, right, and you were doing a circle, she didn't think you were right, by God, she'd slam you down like nobody's business.
Yeah. Doing. Yeah.
She was very strong. I'll tell you something, she was very strong, but she brought forward some fantastic mediums. But
this is,
you know, Albert Best, Albert Bates, all the rest of them. But as I say, I can go to the whole lot of them. I've seen the best of the best, and I've seen the worst of the worst. And I've got to tell you that, because you see, this is what a lot of people don't like about me. I'm Marmite. You either like me or you don't. But I'm honest. I speak out and I speak the truth, because there's no point standing on a platform spouting a load of rubbish, because people won't take it. People won't take it.
Yeah, very true. Apparently, Rita Finch used to like a bottle of gin in her handbag. Good girl. Well done, Rita.
I tell you something, Rita. I'm going to say this to you, sweetheart. My best friend, his name's David Lee. I can't pronounce his last name because it's a funny name, but it's David Lee, and he comes from Darwin in Blackburn. And by God, if you go with him, he gets through a bottle of gin, a big bottle. And he said to me one day, he said, Barry, he said, after the service, he said, we're going for a Chinese. I said, well, you can have him. I don't like foreign food. He said, and you're going to have a gin. And he got me this pink gin. And it came in a bloody fish bowl. It was so, and he said, you're going to drink it up. He said, you're going to drink it all. And do you know, I'll tell you something, I loved it. And when I went up for the second bottle, I said to the bloke behind the bar, I said, can I have a bottle of that violent gin, please? I called it violent gin, not violent gin. But no, can you see what I'm saying? So you let yourself go. You act as you are, the person, because that's what people want to see. They want to see the person. They don't want to see an actor. I'm going to tell you this, Lawrence. I'm going back again, probably 4 years ago. I was taking a service at Portland Street Spirituals Church at Portland, okay, Southport. And a lady come to me and she said, Barry, she said, I've come to see you do your demonstration. She says, and if I think you're good, she said, I can get you work, she said, in top hotels. And she said, you can earn a lot of money. She said, I can get you in all these big places on stage and this, that, and the other. So she said, would you like to do it? I said, well, at the moment, I can't say. But I said, after the service, I said, we'll have a talk and see what we think. So I gets up and I open in prayer And I come to the address, and Spirit took me straight to these words. I went to take a service, and after the service, the chairperson said, "What an entertaining evening." I says, and I turned around and said, "I'm no entertainer. I'm a spiritualist." And when I finished the service, she come over to me. She said, "Barry," she said, "I'm sorry, I can't give you the position." I said, "Why not?" She said, "We want entertainers."
Yeah.
We want entertainers. And
Yeah.
I never got it. Never got it.
Yeah. And I do think some mediums fall prey to this funny, again, synergy going on. I was having this conversation with somebody today. Mediums put themselves under a huge amount of pressure to be fabulous.
Yes.
And to be wonderful, and then you start to see corners being cut then, and that is such a shame, because as a medium you're really good, but and this is part and parcel as well. I think when you're out there on the circuit all the time, must be a huge amount of pressure on people, because you go out there and, like yourself tonight with your demonstration there with the trance, absolutely wonderful. So you've done it. You set a level.
Yeah.
But if you were working all the time, people will come back, and each time they want something a little bit more and a bit more. And you just get to a point of, actually, do you know what? I haven't got anything more to give. Because
I think so that you're dead right on that, because I've only done it the once. And I'm being serious. I was asked to do the Sunday afternoon and the Sunday evening in trance. And I did. And by God, it made me bad. It drained me. Do you know when I'm finished here? I'm not going to lie to you. I'll get myself a cup of tea. I'll go straight upstairs, get into bed. And in the morning, I'll end up with a thick head. Because you see, there's so much energy that's here being used. And I'm sure you have the same. Because can I ask a question of you, Lawrence? Right?
I don't know.
When you have your circles, right? How many people have turned around and told you that they sit there and they've got a heaviness over the head, as though there's a thick band wrapping round it?
Oh, loads.
And what do you tell them?
I'd say that is a stage you're going through, but tell them to take it away. I always listen, will you stop asking me questions, because I keep giving you the wrong answers? I'm going to switch you off in a minute.
The reason I tell you that, my friend, is because, you see, I am not disrespecting you. I am not, because, you see, you're talking as you experience, as you feel. But you see, when you sit there and you get this thick band, the heaviness that's causing a headache upon you, is because someone in your group is draining the energies from you. And I'm going to explain to you. Years ago, when I ran my circle, there was a lady there called Sarah, and she used to get up and put her hands in the pocket of her dress, and she'd sway around like this, and she'd be talking away. And then when she finished, she sat down. And this night I turned around and said, "Please, can I ask, how many of you down the bottom end of the room there have got a horrible headache?" 6 of them put their hand up that was around her. I says, and I'll tell you why. She has just stood there and drained all your energies out of you. I said, and she shouldn't be doing that. She never came back to the church again.
Yeah. I'd often said, I think, in the mythology side of it, when people talk about vampires, I do believe that there is a root in there of truth. That is this we all know somebody that we talk to, and you come away and you think, "Oh my God, I'm so tired," and people do. People can just drain you of that energy.
They do drain your energy. It's the same as, this is why we talk about the powerhouse. Do you know when a medium is on the platform You know, the people in the congregation, because they're willing you, they're draining your energies instead of giving it to you. So that's when your powerhouse comes in. I won't lie to you. I've seen for myself, he's come and stood at the bottom of my bed. My powerhouse is White Eagle. He said, I am not here, he said, to bring you the words of wisdom. I'm not here, he said, to bring the messages from the loved ones. I'm here to give you the energies. I'm here, your powerhouse. And you know, when I stand on the platform, I become so hot and I'm absolutely wet through with all the energies. Do you know, after I've took a service, it's running down my back. It's running down my back. I'm that wet with all the energies that have been brought. And you don't get mediums that have these. You don't see the energies there. Here's one thing for you. You know, when I see spirit, Lawrence, and whenever I was at Bourneway or Lee Circle, they have the royal blue, you know, the dark blue curtains. Okay. Yeah. I can see spirit queuing to get to the mediums, and I know who's working spiritually and who's not. And this particular night, there was a lovely medium on, and he was working with spirit. He was fantastic. And he went to this lady and he was giving messages, and all of a sudden he went, do you know, he said, I've just been told by spirit that you're not sleeping properly. Well, I saw spirit move away. I saw it move away. Okay. And she said, no, she said, I'm sleeping all right. Well, I'm being told you've got problems with your mattress. You need a new mattress. She said, no, she said, I'm having no problems whatsoever. So he said, well, I've had to give it to you. And then he went on to something else. And as soon as he went on something else, spirit come right back in again. So after the service, I went up to him. I said, my friend, there were one part spirit weren't there with you. I said, you gave that lady a message saying she wasn't sleeping properly and she were having problems with her mattress. I said, it wasn't her. That was you bringing your own personal thoughts in. I said, and you should know there's a very thin line between the spiritual and the material. I said, how do you know that? I said, because I saw spirit go away from you as soon as, and he said, but you're right. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say he's a mattress salesman.
No, you'd be surprised. Honestly, you'd be surprised. And you know, over the years, there's something else for you. I bet you don't know about this. You'd be surprised how many mediums, right, who have actually conned women out of money.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there was one in particular, I've forgotten his name now, but I'll tell you the truth, he was Stansted. He was Stansted, right? Big name and everything. And he actually told this lady that spirit said she's got to leave her husband and go with him. And like a fool, she believed. She left her husband, followed him, and he done her out of thousands of pounds as he done with others. And he ended up going to prison. I just wish I could remember his name. But you see, this is what I'm saying. You've got people that are not genuine. If they think they can get something, they'll do it. They'll do it.
And also, there is a big onus on the sitter, to the receiver of these communications, to have one foot on the floor. It wasn't in my time, but I remember my parents talking. There was a couple used to go to church regularly, and one medium said, your future is in America. It's not here. Your future is in America. Well, 3 months later, they moved to America. And then 6 months after that, they moved back penniless, but lost all their money because it just didn't work out.
Yeah. Well, do you know, again, I'm going back in time. There was a lovely lady. If she was still here, she wouldn't mind me saying her name. And that was Beryl Hobbs. She was just an ordinary person that came in. And spirit came through me, gave a message. And apparently she's put her house up for sale. Okay. And spirit told her she must take the sign down. She must not sell it. And afterwards, she come to me and she said, my dad come forward and told me I'm not going to sell the house. She said, it's up for sale. And she said, I'm moving to Blackpool to live near my son. So I said, well, if Spirit said it, you've got to do what he said. She said, no. She said, I'm going to move. The next time I saw her, she said, Barry, I wish I'd listened. She said, it's cost me over £900. She said, to stop the for sale of my house because my son lost his job and he moved back home.
Oh,
Can you see what I'm saying? They don't listen. They don't listen to what Spirit give to them. You see, when a message is given, it's given to them to help them. And nobody takes this on board. You know, this is why I get annoyed with these. I'm going to call them fledglings because, you see, I don't think they have the rights to call themselves mediums if they've not done spiritual work. In other words, communicated between the two worlds. I'm sorry, that's me.
That's all right. We're being put up here for a double act on a Saturday night TV show here.
Well, I think something, Lawrence. I hope I ain't offended you, but I'm enjoying myself. I really
Not offended me. I'm just fed up. I've got every question you put to me totally wrong. Don't ask me any more questions. All right, you got it.
No, please don't think for 1 minute when
I can mute you from here. Be warned.
When I'm asking you these questions, this isn't me trying to belittle you in any way, shape, or form. I'm asking you these questions so that I can to give you the answers of the knowledge that's been given to me. Because
thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that, but just stop doing it, all right?
Well, I'll tell you something, Lawrence. If I don't get invited back again, I know why.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all we've got time for. Good night.
No, thank you. I've really enjoyed it. And if there is anybody there that wants to ask questions, I'm still here for as long as you want me to be.
I'm just staring. Nobody at the moment. Barry, what a really interesting night. I had no idea what I was walking into tonight. I've done no background check on this guy. I've got no idea where he's come. I don't even know where he is. This could be fatal, you know. You do have to be a bit mindful with when you're inviting people onto these evenings.
You do.
I did have to drop somebody rather recently because their post took on quite an ominous tenure, and I just thought, oh no, that's not coming from a good place. That's not a happy place.
Well, you know, Lawrence, you know who you've got to blame, don't you, for me being on here?
Yes, her name has just gone up the list.
Yes, it's Sue's fault that I'm on the. She's a lovely girl. I'm going to be honest, she is a lovely girl. I take people, Lawrence, as I find them. I don't judge them. I don't judge anybody. But if you cross me, God help you. That's me.
And Sue has been such a help. She's found so many of these wonderful contacts of the Saturday night. So, great help. We have a question. Yay! What time are you going to finish? No.
Lawrence has just switched me off.
How do we know without going? I'm sending out messages, but don't see them going. How do we know without going to ASC that we are progressing? I'm sending out messages, but don't see them going.
Are you sending out messages? Now, let me explain to this. What's her name? Sherry Ann? Sherry Ann?
Yeah.
I'm going to explain to you, sweetheart, what do you mean by sending messages? Are you sending them by thought wave? Are you sending them on the internet, right? If you're sending them thought wave, right? Because the thought of prayer and messages can be received. The mind is very strong, okay? And if it's over the internet, this is me personally. This is why I won't do any readings over the internet. You've got to link with the person. You've got to connect with their energies. You've got to connect with their spirit. So when you're putting messages over here, right, you're not giving properly because you're not connecting. What you're doing is going by your own inner thoughts, and your own inner thoughts isn't the way to give a message. Okay.
Not had any more no. No, I was just waiting for some clarification there. Yeah, this online mediumship is another. I've worked a few services now via Zoom because I need to know how this is working. You know, we're coming into this new world, and you need an understanding of it. Personally, I have found the Zoom services have worked twice, and now I don't big myself up. I do not have an ego. You know, my ego crawled out and died quite a few years ago.
Good lad.
But twice I've been working on Zoom, and it's like I've been stood next to myself thinking, oh my God, where is this all coming from?
Yeah.
And just been amazed at the level of evidence that's flown.
Yeah,
equally, I've just sat there and thought, oh my God, please turn me off. This is awful. You know, I'm just crumbling here.
Yeah. No, Lawrence, that's your inner spirit that's helping you there. Because what you're doing, you know, the people that's in front of you that you're giving the message to, your inner spirit is working on their vibrations, okay? So you're able to give evidence in that way. Me, when I do my services, I like to be in contact with that energy. I like to be in contact with that person, with the spirit. Can you see what I'm saying? So there is a difference, yes. And there's a difference because I bet you a pound to a penny here. Do you know when you're giving your messages, you're not asking who's there?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I am guilty of doing that. I just tend to be passive in my mediumship, and it's a habit I've slipped into, and I need to drag myself out of it. I'm not passive. I am an active part of that message. I need to be communicating and going back. Okay, you like cooking. What did you cook?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, you're going to laugh at this one, but it's a very true one. Let me get the year right for you. 1996. My niece lives out at St. Neots. And I used to serve the church there in St. Neots. Okay, it's down a little side street in a little building. And I was told they had this trans medium that come from Stansted. Now remember 1996. It cost me £25 to get there. It cost me £50 for the night to stay over. It then cost me another £25 to go in to see him. We goes in, we sits down, and he goes into trance. And he's drawn to this young lady. There's three ladies. And one of them is the younger one right in the middle. He goes to her. He said, I've got your mother here in spirit. Can you take her? No. Why not? She's here. Oh, well, I'm getting a mother vibration, so it must be your grandmother. It can't be, because she's here. He said, oh, I'm ever so sorry. I've just been told it's your mother from your previous life. Okay. What a load of you know what. And that's what you get. It's another thing for you to have a laugh at. Personally, I have never experienced it. I haven't. So this is what I've been told by one of the greatest mediums. And if my friend is gone now, I forgot what his name is. Oh, Brian. Was it Brian?
Brian? Phil?
The one. That's it. Sorry, Phil. Phil will probably remember this gentleman. Jack Corbett. Jack Corbett, one of the best mediums, exorcist, and he was one of the internationals. And I'll tell you something, he come to me one day, he said, Barry, He said, I've got to tell you a story, and it's a very true story. Now, today they don't do it, but we're talking of years ago. He said, I went to Derby. I'd got to do a mediums rally, which is 3 mediums off the platform. He said, I got early. He said, so I was sitting in the mediums room having a cup of tea with the president. He said, and all of a sudden, this lady comes in and she's walking on her elbows, and we thought she'd had an accident. So we both went running to her to pick her up. She said, oh no, leave me alone. She said, it's my helper, he's got no legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You know,
there was an account in one medium's book about how they were taking a service, and somebody got up and lay on the floor and started threshing about.
Yeah.
And this medium was a little bit perplexed, looked at the chair, and they went, no, it's all right, carry on. And afterwards he went, what the hell was all that about? And he said, her guide is a dolphin. Very sadly, I went to see somebody who was put across as being an exceptionally gifted person in various fields of mediumship, and they recounted that tale as their own in the introduction, and I just sat there going, that is line for line out of his book. I have just lost total confidence in the rest of the evening. How sad.
Here's something for you. I'm going back to 1997 here. I'd gone to take a service. Now remember, my powerhouse is White Eagle. Okay? I have never read a book on spiritualism, and I'm not lying on this, because you see, I don't know if you're anything like me, Lawrence. I can read, but it don't sink in. It doesn't.
I get that.
Okay. And I went to take a service out at Crewe. It was the centenary service. Okay. So you had the Lord Mayor there, and you had some very high profile people that was there. And I done a questions and answers with Spirit. And apparently, while I was in trance, the president was asking questions of Spirit that came through me. And Spirit was replying to her questions. After the service, she said to me, she said, have you ever read the book on that of White Eagle? I said, no. She said, are you sure? I said, no, because I said, it don't sink in. I don't read anything. She said, well, every question I asked your helper that was speaking through you, the answer was in the book. And I knew nothing about it. And afterwards, now listen to this, my friend. Afterwards, the Lord Mayor and a lady and gentleman, this is no bull, this is God's honest truth, they wanted to come and talk to me. Well, you know, when you've done a service, everybody wants to talk, don't they? All I wanted was a cup of tea. So I said to the president, let me have a cup of tea. She said, it's a lady and gentleman. I said, let me have my cup of tea. She said, it's a lady and gentleman. I said, come in then, get them in, get them out, then I can have a cuppy, you know, because it's a long journey back home. So anyway, they comes in with the Lord Mayor, and the gentleman is talking very posh, and I mean very posh. He said, what a wonderful evening. Absolutely fantastic. I have never seen anything like it in my life. I said, thank you very much. He said, would you come to London and take a service for me? I said, I'd love to. He said, have you got your diary? Well, you know, if you're a good medium, you never take your diary with you because they fill you up and you don't get the chance of other churches. So I hadn't got my diary. So I said, I'm sorry, my friend, I haven't. He said, well, on Wednesday, I'm coming to the Grand Hotel to do some business. Would you join me for brunch? I said, yes, if you want to. He said, well, bring your diary. And he gave me a booking to go to London, and I was due to take the service on the 27th of October 1997, but it was cancelled. And do you know why it was cancelled? Because Princess Diane died and the gentleman was Lord Spencer. I could have been working there with the royals, but it weren't for me to do. It weren't for me to do. So this is why, Lawrence, when I talk, I don't talk of bullshit. I don't make things up. I talk of my experiences. I talk about the real things that have happened. And that's what it's all about.
Yes, most definitely. We got some clarification here from Cherry Ann. And she said, no, she didn't mean psychic messages. I need to know, how do I know how my progression is going? I would not be able to go to the ASC. I live in France and not much money to go there.
Lovely. Well, I'm going to explain to you, sweetheart. If you are sitting in a group, right, or you're in a church that's close to you, and you're sitting to develop, you should be developing naturally. The person that's chairing, whether it's on like this, the Zoom, or whether it's in the church itself, they should be linking in with you. So as you're developing and you're nurturing your gift by opening, and please, I've got to say this, you must learn to open your chakras first. And once you do that, right, once you've opened to all the entities, to the energies, you get to know yourself inside out. So when you're receiving anything and you're passing that message on to somebody, right, they should be able to show you some sign. And I'm talking about the people, okay, should show you some sign that you're correct. Even if it's just saying, I'm not 100% sure, but I'll take it. And when I find it, bring it back to you. And the person that's actually running the groups, doing the circles, they should be linking in with you. They should be linking in and helping you. Let me try and explain something to you, sweetheart, and you'll understand why I'm bringing this in the way I am. Years ago, I went into Lee Circle Spiritualist Church, and I went in and sat in a circle. What a joke. The person that was chairing were picking up bits of paper and flicking it out to the people in the circle. Some of the people were on the internet, on their phones, sending messages. And I thought, what the hell am I doing here? And then all of a sudden, this West Indian lady came in and she sat next to me. And I'm just sitting there, relaxing in the energies. And this West Indian lady said, do you mind if I stand to give a message? Now, remember, the person that's chairing should have linked in with her. She went to one of the ladies in the group. And these are the words she said. I've never forgot it because I got her rollicking afterwards, and you'll understand why. She went to this lady and she said to her, I've got a lady in the realms of spirit that wants to speak to you, but she's having difficulties because she had difficulties with breathing. Can you take it? She said no. Now, this is where the chairperson should have linked in. She didn't, but I did. Okay. So the lady sat back down. She'd lost her confidence. So I said to the person that was chairing, do you mind if I stand? I said, and link into the message this young lady has just brought to the lady here. Oh, if you must. That's the words I got. So I went to the lady and I said to her, you see this beautiful lady here? She came to you and said, there's a lady in spirit that wants to talk to you because she can't because of breathing conditions. She said, yes. I said, you have a sister in the realms of spirit that passed in tragic circumstances. A Shabbat went up like this. She said, yes, I do. I said, and your sister, I said, she couldn't breathe. So they had to cut the throat to put the pipe down to make her breathe. Yes, they did. I said, and this is what the lady was bringing to you. Because I said, with the pipe down, she couldn't give the voice. She couldn't speak. You see? So you see what I'm saying? So this young lady, Sherry Ann, if you're linking with Spirit Sweetheart and you're passing anything over, the people that you've got that is supposed to be helping you to develop should be linking in, helping you, giving you guidance. That's what it's all about, sweetheart. And that's when you find confidence in yourself, so that when you're giving any messages out, right, that means that you're giving it from you and from Spirit. You need to find the confidence. They need to give you that confidence, and they need to back you all the way. Has that helped you in any way, sweetheart?
Well said. Yep. Barry, what a brilliant night. Well, I know it is. Honestly, I don't blow smoke, mate. It's been a really, really good, informative night. A lot of fun, a lot of laughter, which I absolutely love because, as I say, you know, we weren't put here to be miserable, and God knows these days we need a laugh.
We do. We do.
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell you something very quickly. Then, if you want to go, it's up to you, but I'm willing to stay. I can't say the words, and I can't say the words because if people are here, they might take offence. But I've got a dirty mind. And I was in Oxford Street Spiritualist Church and I took the afternoon service. And no, I'm going to say what I'm going to say. So if I offend anybody, I do apologise, but it's got to be said because it's part of it. I took the service, and straight after the service, this beautiful little old lady comes up to me. She grabs me hands like this, and she said, "What a lovely service." She said, "I'm glad I've come." I said, "Thank you." She said, "It's my birthday today." She said, "I'm 97. I said, "Well, sweetheart, many happy returns of the day, but you don't look your age." I said, "You must be using the oil of Ulay." And she pushed my hands away like that. And she says, "I don't use that bloody muck," she said. I said, "No, girl, it don't work." I said, "It's supposed to get rid of the wrinkles. And I've been rubbing it on my knob for years." And she busted out laughing. And she said, she said, "That was brilliant." She said, "That was brilliant." And Gwen, who was the president at the time, she said, "Barry, only you could say that."
Yeah.
When you're on the platform, Lewis, Lawrence, when you're on the platform, you're serving God. When you're off the platform, you're you. Let people see you. And if you've got a dirty mind, have a laugh over it. Don't offend people, but have a laugh over it. Because people want to know the person you are, down to earth, grounded.
Yeah. No, that is very, very true. I've been asked several times about considering taking up a ministership, and it's not in me. No offense to any ministers whatsoever. I fully appreciate and admire what you do, but that's not me. And somebody did actually get a little bit arsey with me over it. But I just said I can never see me being called Minister Saville. It's just not an inherent part of me. I'm me.
Well,
love me or hate me, I'm me.
I know where you're coming from there, Lawrence, because I'm going to tell you something very truthful. Years ago, I became a minister. And the reason I became a minister, because I was president of a church called Christ Followers of the Spiritual Light. And we used to be packed out every night. But the reason I became a minister is because I was doing weddings, I was doing funerals, I was doing christenings. So you've got to have your backing there as regards for that reason, okay? Because did you know, if you haven't got your certificates to say that you're able to be a minister, whether it's SNU or wherever, to do a christening, funeral or a wedding, if you haven't got that, you can't do it. By law, you can't do it. And I'll tell you something, I did it for that. But as soon as I came away from being the president, from being part of that church, I didn't want to be a minister anymore, because I'm not going to do weddings. I'm not going to do funerals. I wanted to be me. Can you see what I'm saying? Because no disrespect, and I mean no disrespect, everybody has the right to choose their path. And if they want to become a minister and that's their choice, I say go for it. But don't force anything on anybody. Don't. Because that's wrong. Never force anything on anyone.
I've seen some amazing people with the titles, and all fair play to them. But also in another part of my life, I was working with a education program. We had a meeting one day with a lot of church leaders, and there were 3 in there who were so anti the topic of conversation. I was willing them to just get out and leave, because their whole energy, their whole stance.
Yeah.
And right at the end, we were saying about any questions, and I went to the 3, and I was getting kicked under the table by my compatriots because they know me, and I'll go, "Don't do it, don't do it." Too late, I'm doing it. And I said, you 3 here, you've been absolutely, you've added nothing at all to this talk tonight. Is there any reason why? And I said, we were told to come here, and I said, well, God help the poor sod that comes to you for help. Because if you're going to take on that title, that's another part of me that doesn't want to take on that title, because it is a full-on 24/7 commitment, and I want to be me.
Yeah, well, it is something for you. And again, this is a very true story. I got to go to take a trans service out at Mansfield, and it was put in the paper, International Transmedia, Mr. Barry Potter, and all the rest of it. And when I gets there, there's a big demonstration taking place outside the church. Okay, born again Christians demonstrating it's evil and everything like that. So I turned around and said to Sharon, the president, I said, I'm going out to talk to them. No, you'll cause trouble. It'll cause a lot of upset and this, that, and the other. I said, I'll go and talk. She said, no. Well, I was doing like a double service. So I'd done 1 half, a break, then another half. Okay. So when it come to the break, I'd done no more. I went straight out, and I went straight and I said, can I speak to the leader who's running this group here, the demonstration? This gentleman comes, it's me. I said, my friend, you're demonstrating about God's work. What do you mean it's evil? He said, linking with the dead and all this, that, and the other. I said, hang on a moment. I said, I'm going to tell you, my friend, I am a Christian spiritualist. I am a Christian, and I believe in my Father God. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in spirit. I said, who was the first one that was ever seen as a spirit? I said, was Jesus Christ. He said, yes. I said, he came back to man. I said, he came back and he spoke to Peter. I said, and he came to Mary Magdalene. I said, so therefore, is he evil? Is he wrong? So he turned and said, no. He said, because that's God. He's a different thing. So I started spouting about the Bible. And all of a sudden he turned and said to me, he said, do you know, he said, you're a very intelligent man. He said, and you are a true Christian. And they all dispersed. They all went. They all went away. Because this is what we as mediums have got to do. Don't stand there and let them demonstrate. Get out there and show your ability to communicate with those that you understand in their ways and also in your own.
Very true. Absolutely, very, very true. Barry, we've got to have you back on. We have definitely got to have you back on.
Well, Lawrence, say, if you want me back on, I will come, my friend, because I can honestly say you have been, and I'm being honest here, you have been a tonic to me tonight, because you know, with what I said about the upset, until today, I'd been crying my eyes. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'd
that's
crying
right.
my eyes out, and I hadn't got out of bed for 2 days. And my son came to me, my oldest son, right? Because he phoned me up and he could hear me upset. And he come and he gave me a rollicking. And he said, Dad, you get up there. get every time you feel. I'll tell you something, friend. It won't be every Saturday, but I'd love to come and get more people asking questions. But I'm going back, my friend. I stood in there rollicking, and he said, "Dad, don't you dare let anyone." He said, "You've given 43 years of your life." He said, "Don't you let them pull you down." He said, "Get out of bed, jump in the bath," he said, "and you do what you've got to do." And I was hesitating. I'm not going to lie. I was hesitating. Should I come? Will I make a fool of myself or whatever? Yes, I have, but I bloody well enjoyed it. So thank you. And thank you, Phil. And I hope one day we get to meet, because it's nice to talk to people that have this. Never forget the Here's a quick one for you, Lawrence. I used to work for Age Concern years ago. This isn't as rude, I'll be honest with you. I used to serve the meals and prepare the meals. And this day I got to take out the soup on a tray. And I'd got vegetable and oxtail. And it came to the last bowl of soup, oxtail. And I went over to this lady. I said, "Would you like some soup?" "What is it?" I said, "Oxtail." "Leftover gravy." I said, "It isn't." I said, "It's oxtail." "Leftover gravy." I said, "Honestly, sweetheart, it's oxtail." She went, "Now do you know?" I said, "I saw the cow put its ass in it." She busted out laughing and she said, "Put it there." You'll look at oxtail soup again in a different way, Phil. No, but I have enjoyed myself, and I do thank you. To tell you the truth, it's been an honour and it's been a privilege. It really has. You know, and I just wish I could see the people like I can see you, so I can talk to them face to face. If you can,
we could set up a Zoom one. That's no problem. I am the wizard of the internet now.
Well, I'm glad, Lawrence, you sent me the link, because I am absolutely useless. You know the green dots that go up at the side and you got names?
Yeah.
I didn't know. It took me 5 years to find out that they're people that are online that you can talk to. I didn't know that.
Just a random list of names.
Yeah, I didn't know that. You know, when I look at the internet, this is me. I look at the internet, I can see a circle which shows friend request. Then there's something in the middle that means there's a message. And then there's a head that's talking about all rubbish that I never bother reading. You know what I'm saying? I tell you something. If you know, when I go to take my services, say if I was coming to you, I'd take the service, I'd have to get in touch with my friend Ken to find out about the hotels, the B&Bs there. I can find the B&Bs in Poole, and I can see what the prices are, but can I try and get into contact with them? I go, "Sod it, Ken, can you sort this out?"
Yeah, I've done that. Especially with don't be upset over that, because especially with the chain hotels, it's sort of like, it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons, and you've got to get through the 7 gates to the key holder. You know, just like, oh, for God's sake, I want to book a bloody room. I don't want an IQ test.
Well, I'll tell you something. This is no word of a lie. We went actually to. Let me get it right for you. Up north, Kendal. Went to Kendal.
Oh, lovely area.
Yeah, so it's beautiful. If you ever get the chance to go there, right?
I love the Lake District. Is my spiritual home. I love that area.
It's in a Quakers building, right? And it's lovely, and the people treat you fantastic. They really do. And we went. I got Ken to get us, 2 rooms. And when we gets there, we signs in as we always do. And I always like the one that's on the lower floor. Because I suffer with arthritis of the feet, you see. So I don't like to go walking up load of stairs. So anyway, we gets the keys. I goes into my room. I thought, this is lovely, a single bed. I've got the ensuite and everything else. It's fantastic. 10 minutes afterwards, I goes upstairs to Ken. knocks on his door. He opens the door. He's only got a bloody double bed, which is a 4-poster bed, and everything goes in. Oh, dear.
Barry, you should not be beating yourself up, mate, because the comments that are coming in, and I love these ones like this with the laughter and everything.
Bless you.
Oh, I think that's a compliment.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Jennifer, no, Ken isn't Ken Dodd, but my friend David Lee, who's the president up until the end of this year, is the president of the Darwin Spiritualist Church. Up until his passing, he was on the phone to Ken Dodd once a week. He talks to his wife now, and he's well in with Jane McDonald, who's also a friend of mine as well. So you see, when you're talking about Ken Dodd, you've got a link there. You've got a link there.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody's loved you. Definitely have you back. It'll be the new year now, Barry, because we are booked up for the rest of the year, which is not a lot. And we will do it then on a Zoom night, a special.
Well, thank you, but I've got to say thank you to you, Lawrence, but can I say thank you to everyone that's been there tonight and every one of you that has actually brought messages. You know, with you asking the questions, I'm going to be honest with you, it helps me because you see, I wait for spirit to come close to me because, you know, when you get old, your memory goes, and it really does. So when you're asking the questions, it starts to come, and then the things start to come out, and it's bringing memories back to me.
And I love the energy of question and answer sessions as well. That church I was talking about, when you do the weekend, the Monday night was Q&A night, and sadly, you only used to get like half a dozen people turn up for them. But they were brilliant nights to do. I loved that interaction. And
right, I'm going to say something to you, and I hope everyone can hear this because you can get the proof for yourself if you don't believe me. You're at the age, Lawrence, and I'm sure one or two others are, that you can remember 1992.
Oh, vaguely.
Right? Can you remember all over the news circles appearing in the crop fields? And they were saying, is it man or is it alien? The scientists couldn't prove it. And one day at Christ Followers of the Spiritual Light, it was being videoed, it was being recorded. A lady in the congregation asked the question of the spirit that came through me, is it man or is it alien that's causing the circles within the crop fields? And spirit replied, it's neither man nor alien. It is the earth telling man it can destroy the crops at any time. And if you look at the circles, there are hieroglyphics, a message. And then went on to say, there will appear the sign of the cross, followed by the falling of the stars. That was August the 7th, 1992. On August the 20th, on the Monday, 1993, out at Shepshed, Leicestershire, the cross appeared. On the Tuesday, meteorites were falling from the sky like shooting stars. So what Spirit said had come true. And because of the video, because the recording, I was on Richard and Judy's Central Weekend, in the papers, on the radio, everything. But I'm still Barry Potter. But do you know, since that day, there's never been another sighting.
Yeah.
This is why questions and answers are very important.
Hugely.
Well, they are, because you see, this is what questions and answers is all about. And I'm sure that your group that's here, like Joan and all the rest of it, will tell you. Questions and answers is about gaining knowledge. Gaining knowledge. And what you're doing, you're trying to gain as much knowledge as you can from the guests who come towards you. Okay? This is why I say I don't know all the answers. I'm still learning. So when I'm on the groups like this, and I'm talking to people like Judith, and I'm talking to Patrick, and I'm talking to Colin, they're coming out with things, and I'm gaining knowledge myself. It's helping me to understand. And like you said, Lawrence, we don't want to be stuck in the past. So I'm also gaining knowledge of some of the things of the present. Because here's something for you, my friend, and I am being honest when I say this. Do you know when I've gone and done investigations, right? People have took photos. There's been hundreds of orbs, and I mean hundreds of orbs, but they've only been like little buttons, okay? And this particular day, David, Sam, Chris from Darwin Spiritualist Church came over to see me, and we all went for a meal, went for a drink, and while we was having a drink, David said, "Have you ever been out doing orbing?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, have you been to cemeteries and places like that to do orbing?" I said, "Well, I've been to places and I've seen the orbs, but I've never gone out to do it." So he said, "Well, we do it." He said, "And I'd like to do it around here. Where's the nearest church?" So I said, "Well, about half a mile up the road." So we goes up to the church, and we get to the churchyard, and as you go to the opening, it's just a driveway. There's no gates. And as you get to the driveway, you can see up to the chapel. And there's a big grass verge on the right, left-hand side. Then you've got all the headstones that go behind the chapel and up at the very top. And we're going in, and I turned around and said to David, I said, "David, there's 6, put my teeth in. I said, there's 6 spirits." I said, "standing at the doorway of the chapel." He took a photo on his phone. He said, "Oh my God, look at that. 6 orbs there." So we start to go up towards the church itself, the little chapel. And all of a sudden, right at the back, I saw this lady. And I'm not making this story up. I've written it down on my page if you want to go and, find out. And I could see this lady beckoning me. And I said to them, I said, "I'm being beckoned up towards the headstone. I can see a lady." I said, "So will you stand at the chapel while I walk across the green?" So I started to walk across the green towards the top end. And all of a sudden, David shouts, "Barry, get here quick, get here quick." So I goes running back. And as I goes running back, he said, "Look at this." As I were walking across that green to go up towards the lady, I did feel my hand go back at me. And he took a photo of me. And on the hand was an orb the size of a dinner plate.
Wow.
And as you looked at the orb, you could see a little boy, right? And I said, "Oh my God, that's fantastic." I said, "But the lady's still beckoning me." I said, "Come with me." And we all went up the path instead of going across the green. And we got up to the headstone where she was. And there in that grave was the lady and her son. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
There's so much that there is, Lawrence. There's so much that we as mediums, we need to explore. We need to, you yourself, it's something for you to do. I'm not saying you've got to do it. I'm going to say it's something you need to do. Get a group of your people within your church and take them on the walks, take them on the experiences. Because, someone said to me once, if you go through a cemetery at night time, the headstones move. No, they don't. I said, they're stuck in the ground. The headstones move. Now, this is something I got the evidence of. I'd gone to Rugby to take a service, and I loved Cell Block H. And I knew that if I got up at the train at Wigston, cut through the cemetery, I could miss half hour of Cell Block H. But if I stayed on the train went into Leicester to get back home, I'd have missed the whole of it. So I gets up at Wigston and I goes up to the cemetery and I opens the gate. Oh God, talk about fear. I was frightened. You got woodland before you come into the cemetery and you're looking up and you can see the moon between the trees and you can hear the hooting of the owls, and I was rushing through it. And as I was rushing through it, my mum, bless her, I heard her voice say, practice what you preach. So I picking up courage and I went through, and as I put my foot onto the pavement, I went calm. I felt so at peace. So I went and sat on a chair. And my mum, she was cremated but buried just opposite the chapel. And I sat and I was looking. And you know, as I was looking, the headstones were moving, but they don't move from right to left, left to right. The shimmer with the energies, that's the movement of them. And I was there for a good 10 minutes. And I thought, well, I better go down, get home. Goes down, the gates are locked. I thought, oh God, that means I've got to go back, go all the way around. I'm not going to get to see it. But I was drawn to the side. And as I was drawn to the side, I could see the wall was down. So I stepped out of the cemetery onto the path. And as I got to the path, my mum said, you've practiced what you've preached. Good on you. And I got home and cell block H was just starting. Didn't see that, but you see, these are things that we as mediums, we should experience. So if you get the chance to go round cemeteries, okay, just learn to feel the vibrations, sense the energies, see what's being brought toward you. And again, take your phones to take the photos, see the orbs, because this is all part of the experience, because you're seeing the energies. You're not doing ghost walks. What you're doing is experiencing. And this is all knowledge for you, because then later on, you can sit and turn around and say, well, there was me and Ethel and Philip and who this, that and the other. And we all went to this cemetery. And I've got proof because it's here. Can you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And these are the things. And do you know, you'd be surprised how many people will want to come with you.
Well, sadly, most of my group, they've either got tags on or they have to be back in the hospital for 7 o'clock for their medication. But
oh, I love that. Oh dear, I do love that one.
Barry, what an evening, mate. Absolutely blown away. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I am going to call a halt to the proceedings because the simple reason is I'm sat here in the church and I'm too mean to put the heating on. I'm bloody freezing.
And you want to go for a pee, let's be honest.
No, that's all right. I'm too cold to go. It's big ice cubes at the moment.
Lawrence, I do appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come and speak to you and your lovely group that's joined in, because every one of you have made, as I said, you've made my night for me. I can honestly say I can walk away from here and you've given me so much energy that I'm up, and I thank you all for that. God bless you.
No, absolute pleasure.
What's that saying, Lawrence?
So
God works in mysterious ways, and his wonders he does perform. He's worked his wonders tonight for me, and I thank you. God bless you.
I'm pleased we could do that for you, Barry, because he's given us so much, absolutely so much.
Anytime, my friend, anytime. Take care and God bless you. And I will leave you now and say good night, everybody. Sorry, Lawrence, before I do go, it's a bloody long hour.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's a good job I'm on broadband and not pay-per-view. I'll be bankrupt by now, mate.
Take care. God bless you all. Bye.
Bye, Barry. Enjoy your cup of tea.
Thank you. Ta-da.
Night. Thank you, everybody, for joining tonight. What an evening, eh? Tomorrow night, 3 o'clock live, we have our service on Zoom, and we have Tim and Jeanette Abbott taking that service tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Monday night, 7 o'clock, we have meditation time. Wednesday night, we can reopen. Yay! So the church will be reopened this Wednesday, 3 o'clock. Service taken by Heather Gonclaves, and it will also be broadcast live to view only on our Facebook page. Then Friday night, we have a joint night again with our Spiritist friends. And then on Saturday night, we have Susanna Vigda from Denmark, who will be talking about a technique that she's developed during lockdown re-communication. Sounds quite interesting. That's all I'm going to say at the moment. So, yeah, we are another busy week. Great evening. Thank you so much for the comments. Yeah, it was really good evening. I was blown away. I love him. Love him to bits. Lovely seeing you all. Lovely seeing you, Kate. Hello, darling. I hope you're really well. And lovely seeing all of you. Thank you so much. So much. Look at it. 10 to 11. It's outrageous past my bedtime. Good night, everybody. Take care. God bless.